Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Life is harder than I like to think, but it's easy when you're by my side. No point in calling, you just have to see the fundamentals of our life tonight. Cause I've been looking at a photograph of you, and I've been thinking about all the ways you move. This isolation got me feeling like I'm moving my love. Yeah, when I wake up I feel empty, not beside you. My whole life been searching just to find you. This quality, it hasn't got the right to keep us apart. Killing time, we got nowhere to be. You're sending messages I can't ignore. No contemplating, come here close to me. I'm bored at home, can't leave the house no more. But I've been looking at a photograph of you, and I've been thinking about all the ways you move. This isolation got me feeling like I'm losing my love. Yeah, when I wake up I feel empty, not beside you. My whole life been searching just to find you. This quality, it hasn't got the right to keep us apart. You, when I wake up I feel empty, not beside you. My whole life been searching just to find you. Quality, it hasn't got the right to keep us apart.
How y'all doing tonight? Hope everybody's doing real good.
Been friends since 1995. Growing up, same street, you, me, my ride or die. All the years they would grow us apart, yeah. Moved away, but you're still in my heart, yeah. Call you up, how you been? Can we play a rewind? Yeah, those other guys you choose, they don't care, no, like I do. I've been waiting on you. Oh, oh. I've been waiting on you for so long, and it's killing me to see you there with a broken heart. If you knew, I've been waiting on you. Whoa, I've been waiting on you, coming like a wrecking ball, crying on me, saying how they make you feel so small. When the rain couldn't get any clearer, I'm the one holding up all your mirrors, baby. Hurry up, back to me, why'd you ever move on? Yeah, you're making me confused. I'm the one that you should choose. I've been waiting on you. Oh, oh. I've been waiting on you for so long, and it's killing
and thank you for coming in. I appreciate you all coming in today. A little gypsy tambourine there. Hey, crazy chicken lady, bop, bop. Take your time getting home, no problem, no problem. Hey, Buckwild, good to see you. Thanks for coming in on your lunch break. I appreciate you spending it with me. I was going to talk about the Mica Miller case out of Myrtle Beach. There has been some developments, and was going to talk about that. And I have been watching the Robbie Harvey YouTube channel. I really like him, and that's one of the lives that we're going to go over today and react to. Let me pull it up right up here. This one's about the warrants on one of the church members that was spraying them with the water hose. Hold on just one second. Okay, sorry. All right, so Robert Lascelles was the one, I believe that was, let me pull this up here. Let me share my screen. You back it up. Here. Okay, let's get through this commercial here. And here we go. I guess this is the Robert Harvey channel.
Protest at Solid Rock Church. And for the first time in this case, we saw a warrant issued. Now, not quite the warrant that everybody has been looking for, not quite the arrest that everybody has been anticipating, but nonetheless, our first warrant. And when you push yourself into the spotlight like we saw last week with Robert Lascelles, a dedicated member of Solid Rock Church, my goodness, people start to dig. And there are some interesting things about Robert Lascelles. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Robert Lascelles, it was this guy. He's the one that assaulted Solid Rock protesters last week with the sprinkler. Now, take a look at what Lascelles does. He comes out here in just a second. There he is in the background. He turns the sprinklers on the protesters.
I'm going to put this link down in the comments there for you guys if you want to see the whole thing.
Lascelles turns the sprinklers on protesters. A lot of these women having white shirts on. Of course, they do not appreciate what he did. Lascelles looks to be in good health there. Looks to be just fine, antagonizing protesters. And so a lot of people are like,
so he had 5 warrants for assaulting protesters with the water hose.
On Lascelles, 5 as far as assault and battery. Simple assault it is. So a lot of people wondering, why was he not arrested throughout the week? Well, we'll get to that. So as a response, Myrtle Beach police anticipate more problems today. More problems at Solid Rock Church, so they set up barriers. Heavy police presence today at Solid Rock Church.
Okay, no, they had shown up to arrest Robert Lascelles on those 5 warrants where he assaulted the protesters, which you can't do. He turned the water hose on them. And what you're going to see is how corrupt the system is down there in Myrtle Beach, North Kakalaki. And I'm in North Kakalaki, so y'all can be all mad at me if you want to. But he will finagle his way into the policeman's confidence, and they decide to not arrest him there at the church, but they allow him to turn himself in down at the police department. Okay, so listen.
Multiple officers, multiple cop cars. There's John Paul Miller. He spent a lot of time with police today at Solid Rock Church. He spent a lot of time speaking with police. There is Trisha Ross. You know, we're going to talk more about Trisha Ross here in just a second because her mental stability is declining rapidly. She was there talking with police multiple times. There is Lochelle. Now, I believe this was after church. Lochelle refused to come out for quite a while after church was over. He was one of the last people to come out of the church. And there is Wayne Miller. Wayne Miller, a part of the services today. Remember, Wayne Miller has his own problems in regards to the law also. So that's who we saw today, and a lot of things happen. Police come out to protesters and say that they are going to arrest Lochelle as soon as church is over. That's right. That's what police say. So once church is over, Lochelle does not come out. John Paul Miller comes out and I'll let you know this is.
And watch how he talks to the police and then lets the police come in, but they don't escort the Lochelle out.
It's from the iPhone video on TikTok. It's been all over this. There's John Paul Miller talking with police. He spent a lot of time talking with police after church. He looked visibly agitated. You can see him kind of, I don't know what there is to discuss. I think I know what there is to discuss. And I believe it's Lochelle. Lochelle still inside the church. Side of the church, John Paul Miller still talking with them inside.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Minimum payment.
So something is up. It seems like there was some discussion, and there's going to be an interesting part to this story coming up in just a second. More police go inside. Again, almost everyone has left the church. Almost everyone. Lochelle is one of the few left. There's the Jesus guy. A lot of rumors on who he is.
Does anybody know who that might be? The guy who dresses up as Jesus and goes down there and protests?
We'll just leave it at that. Again, this is courtesy of the iPhone Guru on TikTok. He has been there every single week going live. But we will see Lochelle come out in just a second. And we're going to talk about Lochelle.
Thanks for coming,
and
Buckwell.
why he is
I
so
appreciate
loyal
you.
to John Paul Miller in just a moment. I believe I know why. I believe I know why. And it involves money. We will discuss that in a second. But still, anxiously waiting for Lochelle.
And he never comes out in cuffs.
Anxiously waiting for Lochelle to come out. And it will discuss Mica Miller's.
Okay.
And we would do the same for anybody back. Again, thanks to the iPhone Guru on TikTok. Unbelievable. Now, so what was the reason that police did not arrest Robert
Listen to this.
Lochelle today? Take a listen.
The reason why they didn't handcuff him there at the church.
1-year-old man with health problems in our jail. That's why.
Okay.
And we would do the same for anybody out here if they had done that in reverse. I mean, that's just sense. So he's going to turn himself in the morning, or we're going to pick him up if he doesn't. And then at that point.
And I'm a 30-year-old woman
Okay,
who is a
I'm gonna stop you.
sexual assault.
I'm going to stop you right here. We did that because he's an 81-year-old man and he's got health problems. Compassion is part of it, but
He's not 81. He's 64.
at the same time, we don't. If something happens in the jail, now we have to sit with him in the hospital. That takes another officer off the street. So he's going to turn himself in tomorrow. If he chooses not to, he's got that choice. Then we can pick him up and go from that. Okay.
According to police, Lachelle is fragile. He's 81 years old. That is not true. I wonder where they got that information. He's 67 years old. And once
No
again,
due
it
diligence
seems like
in that
police may have been
force.
duped, not doing their due diligence and knowing exactly who they're dealing with. Were they lied to again, and did they accept the lie? 67 years old, not 81. Either way, it's obvious police had no clue what they were talking about. So that is the events of today. Robert Lachelle is scheduled to turn himself in tomorrow morning. He is scheduled to turn himself in to police on his own. It's just unbelievable that this man has gotten away. Not gotten away, but it will now be 8 days, 5 warrants for his arrest. Let me just be honest about this. Let me just be on. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to make it about this, but that's white privilege right there. That is 100% white privilege right there. 100% white privilege. You will not convince me otherwise. You will not convince me otherwise. If that was...
Okay, now I'm going to show you what happened when he went and turned himself in. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Looking for the bond. There was a bond hearing. Hold on 1 second. I want y'all to see it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let me find this bond hearing here. See, where is this at? There was a bond hearing. I'm looking for it. Damn it. Let's see here. It was Robert Lachelle. Let's try that. Bond. There was a bond hearing. Where the hell is it at? Arrest warrant, Sprinkler Boy wanted, South Carolina. Maybe JLR has that. Let me jump over here and see if he's got the bond hearing for Shoot, that's weird. It was just here in my news feed. Let me see, where's it at? Anyway, he had a bond hearing. I'm gonna look up here and see if I can look it up here. Let's see, Robert Harvey. Let's see. Mica Miller case. Okay, I'm gonna look in the news. Would be under news. Timeline. God, that's weird because he was just in court yesterday. And it's not coming up. Let's see. Let's try J.P. Miller case. 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 month. Very strange. Well, I'm just going to go back to Robert. Thank you for being patient with me. I'll look this up. Let me go to his playlist here. We're going to move on to his
North Carolina State Park just hours before this sermon. And keep this in mind. John Paul
Hey, baby love. Thanks for coming. Good to see ya.
Miller, her husband, has yet to see her body or meet with officials when he takes the stage on Sunday, April the 28th. So let's take a look at this sermon. And keep in mind, like I said, his wife lays in a morgue as he preaches.
Trigger warning.
When you feel like holding a grudge, don't do it because it affects others. When you feel like being stingy, don't do it because it affects others. When you feel like, just throwing in the towel and taking the easy way out, don't do it because it affects more than just your life. It affects the people around us.
This part is truly astonishing to hear because remember, John Paul Miller holds quite the grudge against his wife, and especially now, her family. Just days before this sermon, John Paul Miller placed tracking devices through a private investigator on his wife's car.
Hopefully that brought you up to speed there, Buck Wild. That gave sort of the backstory. Okay, so now I'm going to speed up here.
On your hand! On your hand! Mica's blood is on your hand!
So these are people protesting outside his church.
Mica's blood is on your hand! 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 Mica's blood!
See how much he's loving this attention, even though it's negative attention?
Is on your hand! Mica's blood is on your hand! Mica's blood is on your hand!
He likes everyone talking about him, even if it's bad.
And then, what I consider the most shocking part of this sermon, it's as if he's preparing the congregation for what's to come. He plays a voicemail from his grandmother.
John Paul, this is Donna. Just wanted to give you a call and tell you, don't you ever give up preaching unless God wants you to. Don't listen to all these mouths that try to come against you. Just
Now, he hasn't told anyone his wife is dead yet. This was the sermon right before he tells everyone she's gone.
trust God for your life and your preaching because you're too good to ever give it up. From what I could hear, you are absolutely wonderful. I just wish I could hear you too, my darling. God loves you. You just trust him with whatever is going on. Don't let the devil take anything from you, honey. Stand your ground.
And setting up
This is before he tells everyone what happened.
his congregation continues.
This will really enlighten you, I think. Have you ever heard of the Kennedy curse? Okay, now I'm going to teach you something. This is just from the past 100 years. I could have gone further, but I don't have time in the sermon to do it. But just in the past 100 years, Joseph Kennedy Jr. died in an aircraft explosion. Kathleen Kennedy died in a plane crash. JFK was assassinated. Robert Kennedy was assassinated. Michael Kennedy died in a skiing accident. JFK Jr. died in a plane crash. Ethel Kennedy's parents died in a plane crash. Ted Kennedy accidentally drove his car off of a bridge. Now, let me just tell you, that's just in the past 100 years of this family line. That's not bad luck. That's not a coincidence. That is a spiritual force trying to destroy that bloodline.
Do you hear this?
And I hope that you are wise enough to recognize what the enemy is trying to do to destroy your bloodline, so you can be strong and to make the right choice when it comes against you.
And then don't forget, after the sermon, John Paul Miller makes the infamous announcement about his wife.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can, so y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to
Bossy, ain't he?
say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit, because I don't want to have, I'm taking a little bit of a break and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're
Hey, crazy chicken lady, thanks for coming.
going to have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't, y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come, but just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, Bishop, he can pray. I get him Mike, he'll pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well, I appreciate it.
Come on, let's pray.
He also misinterprets many verses. They call him out on all of it, including examples of how he's wrong. They reinterpret of what the Bible is trying to say in those verses. I'm going to put a link of their channel in the description, so I encourage you to go check them out. And don't forget, the FBI continues to investigate John Paul Miller, Solid Rock Church, and the death of Mica.
It's pretty crappy stuff there, isn't it? That JP Miller dude, he's going down, ain't he? He's going down. God's gonna stroke his ass out, ain't he? Oh, me. Hey, Missy T, Dazed, SDA, and Lulu, you all were gifted memberships. Thank you for hanging out with me today and discussing the Mica Miller case. This is Myrtle Beach in the backdrop here. That's how busy it was for the July 4th weekend. So prayers out to her family. And hey, Mountain Violet, good to see you. That's one heck of a case, I tell you what. So maybe, you know, maybe she'll get, I'm going to show you this one here while we're talking about her mental state. He did a live on her, or a video on it, I guess I should say a video. Hang on, let me get back to the Robbie Harvey channel. He's a really good channel to follow here. Okay, here we go.
Miller's prescription bottles, provided to me by John Paul Miller himself. We'll dive deeper into those bottles in just a moment. But first, how did we get to this point? And when did Mica's mental health begin to collapse? Well, we now know. December 2017, the month and year that Mica and John Paul Miller get married. Not once, but twice. The first wedding was private, and only a few people attended, and it came in early December of 2017, just a few days before.
She looks so young there. Look how young she was.
Before Mica was set to have breast augmentation surgery. According to multiple witnesses, John Paul and Mica told them that they wanted to get married before her surgery so they wouldn't be living in sin and John Paul could take care of her. And then days after that wedding, Mica followed through with the surgery. But remember, Mica's family says that she was forced to have the surgery.
I just believe he really compressed her. I really believe that he just sucked the life right out of her and caused her to go downhill from the moment after they got married, the moment after he forced her to have a certain surgery.
And it's this moment, this surgery, that is key to Mica Miller's mental health. Because days after the surgery, Mica was admitted into a mental health facility. Not long after leaving the facility, Mica and John Paul Miller have another wedding, this time the ceremonial one, on New Year's Eve 2017. 2 weddings, 1 surgery, and 1 alleged mental breakdown.
Wow.
That's how the marriage of John Paul Miller and Mica gets started.
Damn.
But what happened? Why was
Look how
Mica all of a
beautiful
sudden
she was.
mentally unstable? According to multiple sources, Mica wasn't mentally sick. She simply had a reaction to anesthesia. And what type of reaction was that? Hallucinations. If you're not familiar, hallucinating from anesthesia is actually pretty common. My grandfather did it every time he had some sort of procedure. And I've spoken with several medical professionals who say that they see this happen all the time also. It is very, very common. And according to friends and family, Mica told them that she was hallucinating because of the anesthesia.
From the moment after they got married, the moment after he forced her to have a certain surgery, and she had a violent reaction from the anesthesia.
And according to those same friends and family, they say John Paul Miller allegedly used this opportunity to gain control over his wife. But of course, those friends and family have a biased stance on things. They're angry. They believe John Paul is responsible for Mica's death. So I decided to ask John Paul Miller himself.
Wow, let's
I didn't
see.
expect a response.
Check this out right here, what happens now.
But boy, did I get one. This is a direct quote from John Paul Miller. She woke up.
I hate this guy. I really do. I hate this guy. Not the one talking, John Paul Miller.
From anesthesia and was talking 3 different languages. He went on to say, bipolar symptoms were always there, but her family doesn't believe in medical mental doctors, so she was never diagnosed. But the schizophrenia and the bipolar 1 and 2 diagnosis and all of the other diagnoses started that day.
Oh, wow.
He also said, and from that day forward, the doctors scared the hell out of me.
So he's using something that happened while she was under anesthesia as a way to control her her mental health.
Telling me that she had to take her meds every single day or horrible things would happen. Now, remember the pictures of Mica's prescription pills that I obtained directly from John Paul Miller. Well, let's take a look at them. There's one thing that's interesting about the pictures. One of the bottles is double labeled. I've asked multiple experts in the field, and they say that this is a major red flag, that no pharmacist would sign off on putting 2 labels on one bottle. You'll also notice that the bottles are angled in such a way where you can't see the right side of the label. I've asked John Paul Miller for pictures of that side, and he denied my request. Remember, John Paul Miller claims that Mica took her life because she was not on her medication, and he blames Mica's family for this. John Paul claims that Mica was dangerous if she wasn't on the medication. And listen to this phone call that he had last week with a fellow influencer on TikTok.
I never once abused her. I spent 7 years trying to make sure she took her medicine every single day. She never had to work, never had to cook, never had to clean. I took care of her in every way possible.
That's good.
And it was only when she came off her meds that her family would convince her that I was abusive by wanting her to take medicine. And the only reason I wanted her to take medicine is because her doctor said if I didn't do it, she could kill me or kill somebody else.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. God.
So now we have to ask
I bet
this.
she loves
If Mica was so
him.
dangerous that she could possibly murder people, why was she in charge of the youth program at Solid Rock Church? Why was she the face of the church, standing on stage on a weekly basis? Why was she constantly featured on videos on their social media sites? And why was Mica put in charge of starting a school in Africa?
She said she wanted to start a school.
These are good questions. That's not what someone does. That's wanting to end their life, right? I guess that was all I had to talk about.
A Faith First Academy in Africa. And I said, Mica, you can't do that. I said, that's not possible. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the teachers, the curriculum, the location, the place. We don't have it all. About a month later, she brought me a notebook. She had the teachers, the location. She even had the lunch lady, someone who was going to bring these children food. And she brought me everything we needed. And she got it down to about $500 a child per year. And then I'm the guy that's good with financial stuff. And so I was able to get it down to $300
for a year for a child to go to school there. And that includes the food that they get each day. And so we sent a team at the beginning of this year, and we were expecting about 75, maybe 80 kids. The first day we had 150. By the end of the week, we had 300. And now we have about 350 children begging and pleading for us to start our school back in August of this year.
And then John Paul Miller said something interesting to me that suggests that he does not have the medical records to back up his claims. I asked him more details about December 2017, and this is what he said. To be very honest, I gotta wait until the medical records come in to see the details. It was all a blur. To me, that statement alone suggests that John Paul allegedly doesn't have medical documents proving that Mica was mentally unstable. And it seems odd that a doctor would diagnose those symptoms just moments after waking up from anesthesia.
It was so bad.
Na ilikuwa ni vibaya sana.
I tried to myself.
Nikajaribu hata nijiue, jitoe uhai.
I put a gun in my head.
Ya kwamba nikachukua bunduki nikaiweka kwenye kichwa changu.
And I pulled the trigger.
Nami nikaanza kubonyeza ili ya kwamba nijiue.
And the bullet got caught.
Lakini ya kwamba hiyo bunduki, risasi ikashikwa kwenye bunduki.
And that was God.
This is the only clip and evidence that Mica struggled mentally. But there's substantially more clips and evidence that it was John Paul Miller who struggled.
For the past 4 weeks, I've had the most horrible battle and horrible time of my entire life. I've never, ever, 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 not even close, been through what I'm going through right now in life. Not even close. Horrible. I mean, horrible, so bad. I'm seeing a psychiatrist every week. I'm on 900 milligrams of lithium. I'm seeing a counselor every week. I'm going to inner healing. I'm going to deliverance 3 times a week with pastors in the area. I'm doing everything I can just to be able to get out of bed. I'm so depressed. I want to die. I'm battling suicidal thoughts. I have unforgiveness, hatred, demons coming out of me. Horrible.
JP. You all right, man? You okay? Huh? You okay?
I'm not saying that they don't exist, but other than the prescription bottles, I've seen no medical records proving that Mica Miller was mentally ill.
And there you have that. So on that note, there's only 8 of us in here. I guess I could hang out with you for a little bit. What y'all up to today? Are y'all having a good afternoon?
Look at what we got here. A silly penguin is back again.
It's too hot for a penguin to just be walking around out here. It's like really hot. What you see in the backdrop there is Myrtle Beach, and I'm glad I'm not there today. But we can watch this relaxing video of my footage of Daytona Beach if you'd like. Why not?
I don't wanna waste time. Well, remember tonight I found something here with you. Running by the roadside, wait up for me. I'd go anywhere that you do. Put it all out in the open. No, we don't have to control it. Put it all out in the open. If it's only for a moment, it's a lifetime of emotion. Put it all out in the open. Don't tell me it's time to go. Now that we made this far, wandered too broken, never look back to the ocean. Still now you'll meet me at home. When we're lost and out of focus and we don't know where the road is, still me blind, you always worry me through. If you need me at the wrong time, throw it all out by the wayside. There's nothing that I wouldn't do. Put it all out in the open. No, we don't have to control it. Put it all out in the open. If it's only for a moment, it's a lifetime of emotions. Put it all out in the open. Don't tell me it's time to cry. Too broken, never look back to the ocean. Still know you need me at home. We're lost in that focus and we don't know where to go. Still know you need me at home.
And that was my dad's backyard, basically, Daytona Beach. Some great aerial footage there my husband took with his drone. And if you want to discuss this, that's fine with me too. The election, I can't believe it. I haven't been interested in politics since the whole incident with January 6th. It was disgusted. I felt like, as you know, we are finding out that he's clearly not who is in charge, right? So I feel as though that takes me back to who put him there to begin with. So I've started watching some footage, some of his gaffes, and I can't believe it. Well, we're going to pull up some, if you don't mind. We're going to pull up some. Hey, everybody. I'm going to pull up where I've been watching this lately. Okay, and it was Joe Biden. Okay, where's the one that I watched? They said that they have shortened the steps so that it's easy for him to get on the plane. And she still helps him. Let's see, 6 months ago. Where's the ones that I've seen lately? One that I watched yesterday. Where is this at? Most awkward gaffes of all time 3 years ago. There's way better than that now. Let's see. Biggest gaffes 2021. Okay, we're going to watch this without the sound so I can talk over it. See how she's having to guide him off stage like that? Biden mocked for calling Trump sitting president. He's a complete idiot.
He wants to see the economy crash this year. A sitting president. As they say in my faith, bless me, Father, that American consumer. As they say in my faith, a sitting president. As they say in my faith, bless me, Father, that American consumers are facing real confidence in their economy we're building. Let me tell you who else is noticing that. Donald Trump. Did you see what he recently said about that he wants to see the economy crash this year? A sitting president. As they say in my faith, bless me.
Hey,
we now
SDA,
have,
hope
in
you're
large
doing
part
good.
because of you and organized labor, the strongest economy in the whole damn world. We do. We do. In the whole world. Inflation's coming down, jobs are growing. We created 800,000 manufacturing jobs. Remember they told us we were dead, manufacturing's dead in America? China was going to eat our lunch? Well, guess what, man? We don't taste that good. Right after I was elected, I went to what they call a G7 meeting, all the NATO leaders. It was in the south of England. And I sat down and I said, America's back. And Mitterrand from France looked at me and said, you know, how long are you back for? And I looked at him, and the Chancellor of Germany said, what would you say, Mr. President, if you picked up the paper tomorrow in the London Times, and the London Times said, 1,000 people break through the House of Commons, break down the doors, 2 bobbies are killed in order to stop the election of the Prime Minister. What would you say? I never thought about it from that perspective. What would we say if that happened in another democracy around the world? Of American power.
Walking Dead
It
man.
all goes to, was America keep its word? Does America move forward? There is some movement, and I don't want to.
I'm so sorry for your loss. SDA will be praying for you.
Choose my words. There's some movement. There's been a response from there's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas. The conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. I think that as you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side. Your Majesty, over to you.
Oh my God. He's just wandering around.
Mr. Sorry. Mr. President. Mr. President, thank you for your gracious hospitality.
Hello, folks. This morning I had the honor of meeting with Alexei Navalny's wife and daughter. As to state the obvious, he was a man of incredible courage. And it's amazing how his wife and daughter are emulating that. And we're going to be announcing the sanctions against Putin, who is responsible for his death.
Joe Biden is deteriorating before our eyes. The president had another shocking week of gaffes that were broadcast across the globe as he humiliated himself on the world stage at the G7. Sky News All-Stars James Morrow, Rita Panahi and Alex Stein take a look at Joe Biden's rapid decline and ask what's next for the frail and feeble president. The Democrats are wheeling Joe Biden out to campaign in the hopes of raising money for the party in the lead up to the November election. But their efforts are backfiring, with all the publicity surrounding the president focused on his stumbles and mumbles rather than his policies. Like the Democrats' latest fundraiser in Los Angeles, where Joe Biden froze and needed help from Barack Obama to get off the stage, explains Sky News All-Star Rita Panahi.
The leader of the free world was in sterling form last night after a big Democrat fundraiser in LA with many A-listers there, the usual suspects.
I feel as though they have to do something. What is it called? Our 25th Amendment or something like that? They have to. They can't go 6 more months like that. Are you kidding me?
George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Barbara Streisand. Watch here as Barack Obama grabs Biden's arm and helps direct the confused POTUS off stage. I think we found out who the puppet master is. No wonder many savvy pundits consider this Obama's 3rd term, and it's been...
What did y'all think of that? I mean, that couldn't be more blatant, can it? He's clearly a puppet. Look at that. Obama's 3rd term, no doubt. Puppet master.
I think we found out who the puppet master is. No wonder many savvy pundits consider this Obama's 3rd.
It's no secret that Joe Biden had his worst ever public performance during the presidential debate last week. But what has happened in the days since is even more concerning. Joe Biden's cognitive decline is speeding up by the day. The severity of his gaffes are getting worse, and they're happening more than ever. The media is no longer protecting the president, but despite this, Joe Biden and his family stand defiant. Sky News All-Stars Paul Murray, Andrew Bolt and Danica DiGiorgio take a look at Joe Biden's bizarre behaviour. Joe Biden's cognitive decline is worse than it's ever been. His mental lapses are frequent, his physical body resembles a corpse, and those close to him are very worried, according to Sky News All-Star Peter Stefanovic.
Sources close to Joe Biden say the US president's lapses are becoming more frequent. The 81-year-old president has been described as appearing increasingly confused and losing the threads of conversations. According to one individual, Mr.
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day.
Tired of typing tons of notes during class? There's finally a better way. It's called Otter.
They are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off. In the last 6 months particularly, there has been a marked incidence of cognitive decline.
How anybody involved in that debate prep, I mean, didn't anybody see something?
Well, the debate prep was supervised by Ron Klain. There was a fundraiser at which he started at the podium, and then he became very stiff, according to the people there, as if it were almost a kind of rigor mortis.
Journalist Carl Bernstein spoke to sources who are incredibly close to President Joe Biden and found that there have actually been serious concerns about Biden's mental and physical health for over a year now.
Tonight, we're going to break down some of the more insane reactions to the presidential debate, because we all saw the debate. We all saw Joe Biden struggling to form sentences. But what I didn't see coming was the way that American journalists turned on their guy. Of course, the White House was still lying to Americans, but the journalists were starting to bite back.
Last night at the fundraiser, the president blamed jet lag for his debate performance, but he was back stateside for well over a week. So does he really need more than a week and a half to recover from traveling in Europe? And is that really what he thinks caused his poor debate performance?
So he had a cold, and you all heard directly, you heard from him during the debate. He had a hoarse voice.
Watching the media turn on Biden has been strange. Questions became more probative, journalists more skeptical than usual, and some of them were pushing back when explanations simply didn't make any sense.
It just seems like I know you're calling it explanation, not an excuse, but it does seem like there are new excuses since the debate of what went wrong there.
I would say I don't think it's a new excuse.
They didn't used to do that, and they never used to do this either.
There's no question that international travel can be rigorous. I think the confusion is that he's still suffering from the effects of that nearly 2 weeks later. So can you articulate a little bit about, like, do you guys usually have accommodations for him after he does a trip, that he's going to have jet lag for that long a period of time?
So can you, when you say 2 weeks later, what do you mean?
Well, the debate, he arrives back in the United States 12 or 13 days before the debate. So his explanation for a poor debate performance is jet lag.
Yeah, it's not dementia. He was just sleepy for nearly 2 weeks straight. But amazingly, the commander-in-chief of the most powerful nation in the world admitted as much himself.
Incredibly, Joe Biden was at a campaign event in McLean, Virginia yesterday, and he made an admission that will make things even worse for him today. Right. Here's the quote. He said, "I decided to travel around the world a couple of times shortly before the debate, and then I almost fell asleep on stage."
And even though Biden has been...
Staff maybe saying something different. You know, his family all committed, even Valerie Biden still committed to the race, but, you know, she has expressed some questions according to what we've read. Axios, this is a new report this morning. Yeah. Biden's staff is miserable, and they're alarmed as pressure builds. And Todd, I'm reading through the piece. These quotes are brutal. Everyone is miserable, and senior advisors are a total black hole. That's a White House official. Even if you're trying to focus on work, nothing's going to break through or get any acknowledgement from the bosses. They have a DNC official saying everything feels like Weekend at Bernie's, with the inner circle trying to prop him up. And just imagine if you're a Biden staffer, lower level, they've created a cocoon around him. That's been widely reported. How misled you must feel. Or you're at the DNC, you're a Democrat, you've been totally committed. You must feel misled.
This is a switch bike.
This is a switch bike.
No, this.
Well, everybody, the White House last night released a letter from President Biden's doctor responding to questions about the president's health. The letter was released just hours after the White House press secretary refused to answer repeated questions about whether several recent visits to the White House by a specialist in Parkinson's disease directly involved the president.
Sure that means
when the press
dead.
secretary was pressed for specifics about those visits,
sure that means
things got a bit testy.
Right. What I can share with you is that the president has seen a neurologist for his physical 3 times. 3 times. And it is in the reporting that we share a comprehensive reporting. Matter of fact, it's more than what the last guy shared.
The doctor's letter released last night confirmed the press secretary's statement that President Biden has never been treated for Parkinson's.
Oh, wow.
Staff may be saying something different. You know, his family all committed, even Valerie Biden still committed to the race, but
the latest on President Biden, defiant in the face of calls to bow out of the race, even daring his potential rivals to challenge him at the convention.
This comes as there are new questions about a doctor's repeated visits to the White House. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, starts us off. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, President Biden is digging in this morning, adamant that he has what it takes to stay in this race. He is launching a full-blown, full-throated defense of that decision, scrambling to reassure Democrats, donors, and voters that he can beat Donald Trump. This morning, President Biden is fighting back, making clear he is not leaving this race.
I am not going anywhere.
Scrambling to contain the defections on Capitol Hill, he's upping his outreach to lawmakers. Overnight, speaking with members of the Congressional Black Caucus.
The president was clear that he is in this race to win. We have one objective, and that is to win.
Hours earlier on a fundraising call, Biden promising doubting donors he can beat Donald Trump, saying his plan for their next face-off, attack, attack, attack. But his administration is also facing new questions about the president's health after visitor logs show a Parkinson's expert visited the White House 8 times within an 8-month span, including meeting once with the president's doctor.
Has the president been treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not.
On that note right there, you know, as far as like them saying elder abuse and Jill, he must have done her wrong, y'all. He must have really been a narcissist piece of shit to her for her to be doing this to him. Would you put your spouse out there like that? You know, and exploit him? And come on, honey, you got to make money for the family. Come on. He's not getting to retire. He didn't get a retirement. He's going straight from Congress and the White House to the damn funeral home. He's not getting any time off. He's not even getting a cruise. I mean, you know, where's my casserole? What the hell? Y'all feel me? She's not even letting him catch his breath before he dies.
Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No. So those are the things that I can give you full-blown answers on.
A huge disappointment that the leader of the world's largest democracy hugs a bloody criminal in Moscow. This is a devastating blow to peace efforts. Will this create any impact on your trusted and strategic partnership with India?
Well, as I said yesterday, we we continue to urge India to support efforts to realize an enduring and just peace in Ukraine.
My new book, Keyboard Rich, How Anyone Can Earn 6 Figures from Home with a Simple Book.
Good morning. There is no longer any doubt that Joe Biden is unfit to be our commander-in-chief. The Biden White House, far-left House Democrats, and the mainstream media are in complete disarray because they know this to be true and have been caught participating in one of the greatest media cover-ups in American history. For the last 3.5 years, House Republicans and the American people have been demanding details about Joe Biden's mental and physical decline. But every time we raise these legitimate concerns, far-left Democrats and their loyal stenographers in the mainstream media rushed to Biden's defense, claiming that the clearly diminished Joe Biden was as sharp as ever and accusing us of peddling conspiracy theories. The cover-up is over and accountability is here. For years, House Republicans have known that Joe Biden is unfit for office. We also know that he will go to any lengths to maintain his grip on power. This is why it is so crucial that we take every possible measure to ensure that the 2024 presidential election is free from election interference and is constitutional. As part of that ongoing effort, House Republicans are bringing to the floor this week Congressman Chip Roy's Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, which requires individuals to provide proof of citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. Not surprisingly, the Biden White House, whose far-left open border agenda has let in millions, over 10 million illegal immigrants, is against our bill. This is a very simple and logical concept rooted in the Constitution. Only American citizens should vote in American elections. Also this week, House Republicans are moving Mary Miller's CRA to stop Joe Biden's radical efforts to roll back women's rights and change Title IX to allow biological men to access women and girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports. Next week, we are looking forward to uniting in Milwaukee behind President Donald J. Trump's America First agenda, which created the greatest economy in generations, the securest border in modern history, the lowest gas prices in years, and peace through strength around the world. With that, we're honored to be joined by Chip Roy, who is leading the SAVE Act this week on the floor. Chip.
Happening now, Democrats are meeting inside the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee headquarters. It's happening at this very moment, and President Biden's pushback against pressure to drop out of the presidential race was top of mind.
Fox News congressional correspondent Aisha Hasni is outside the DCCC, where House Democrats just had that meeting this morning. Aisha, what did you hear as they were leaving?
Well, not much. I mean, if you were going to ask me the question whether they were all united behind President Biden, I would not be able to answer that question because they don't have an answer to that. So that meeting, about 2 hours long, top secret, just ended. So we're watching these doors very closely here because some of those members are going to start to trickle out. We did try to talk to some members earlier that had to run to committee, and we were just getting ignored left and right. People were just staring at us. Clearly, they were told to not speak to the media. One lawmaker did tell us that there is no consensus, while another one told us that they are still talking. Take a listen to this.
Are you guys all back in Biden? Congresswoman, how is it?
This is what democracy is about, right?
Did anybody?
Not just
and what did you get up and say in the room?
I said I shared my position and how I came to it.
Is there not a Congresswoman Dingell, is there any consensus in there? They're still talking. What does that tell you?
We're united, that our caucus is united in supporting each other.
Okay, so none of that sounds good for President Biden. Seth Moulton, who you just heard from there, is one of those 8 defectors. He being the only one, really, who stopped to talk to our cameras kind of tells you everything about how today went. Senate Democrats, in the meantime, will also meet at lunchtime this afternoon to talk about Biden. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's for Joe, but his vulnerable colleagues are not on the same page. Senator Sherrod Brown, Martin Heinrich, John Tester all came out yesterday distancing themselves from the president. Senator Murray, actually, with a surprising statement as well, basically saying that after she talked with her constituents, she believes that President Biden must do more to demonstrate that he can campaign strong enough to beat Donald Trump. So while Democrats are talking, Republicans are trying to weigh in too.
House Republicans have known that Joe Biden is unfit for office. We also know that he
join large-scale battles with military vehicles.
It was normal in shamanism to bring the message.
Brett Baird joins us this Tuesday morning. Brett, welcome back to the show. Good to see you, sir. Trump doesn't have to do anything, does he? He can just sit back, have a nice, calm interview with Sean Hannity, and let the other guys destroy themselves.
100%. And so far, the campaign has done that pretty well. Let the Biden news cycle continue and flourish, because every news organization is now asking the questions that a lot of people say they should have been asking for a long time. I mean, we've obviously covered a lot of this, and you know, we had all of that pushback from mainstream media and the White House about clear fakes or cheap fakes. We ran when President Trump doesn't have to do anything. He does have to make a VP choice, and I bet it comes the Monday of the RNC.
But Brett, you know what's coming now. Listen to how White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre reacted when the White House was accused of withholding information about Biden's health. Roll that tape again.
I just want to take a step back for a second, because I do take offense to what Ed alluded to. You know, come out here every day, there's a press briefing, and we do our best to give you the information that we have at the time.
Thank you,
and so to say that I'm holding information or allude to anything else is not unfair. It's really, really unfair. I think people who are watching and have been watching this briefing for this past week could say that we are doing our best in this briefing to provide the information that we have.
Watching that press briefing yesterday, it seemed to me that the White House has lost the media.
Yes. Listen, I've sat in those seats for 4 years covering a different administration. And when a press corps gets that engaged, that angry, that frustrated, it is essentially chum in the water. They know that there is something going on here. The press secretary has said something, walk something back. The fact that you had this press conference and it blow up yesterday, and then after all the questions about the physician, that the physician puts out a statement overnight, which clarifies essentially what Karine Jean-Pierre said all during that press briefing, it tells you a lot. I think how the White House has handled this post-debate has exacerbated the problem for President Biden.
No sign of a turnaround from the White House yet.
No, they're going to the mattresses.
Yeah.
They're, in the words of The Godfather, I think they are really just trying to hold on because, Stuart, if you do drop out as the nominee, the very next question is, why should you stay on as president for the next 6 months?
Exactly.
All right, Fox News alert. Last night, President Biden's doctor trying to explain why a top neurologist and Parkinson expert reportedly visited 8 times in 8 months. Dr. Kevin O'Connor saying, quote, Dr. Kennard was the neurological specialist that examined President Biden for
They'll
each
give
of
it to
his
Kamala.
physicals.
That's the way
his
it will
findings have been
happen.
made public. Each time
Kamala
have
is
released the results of the president's
next
annual
in
physical.
line.
President Biden has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical. Now, this all comes after chaos erupted inside the briefing room.
This is live right now. This just went live. This just went live. White House briefing with Karine Jean-Pierre. Well, she won't come out, they're saying in chat. We'll come back to that. I want to see this.
For more on this pivotal week for both the Biden and the Trump campaigns, we're joined by Robert Costa. He's in Washington. Bob, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gail.
Bob, good to see you. Listen, I know you were in New Hampshire yesterday. You were with Gavin Newsom, who's campaigning for President Biden. What are you hearing about what they're saying on the road about the president and Gavin Newsom in particular?
Gail, one of the best things about being a reporter is just getting out there and speaking with voters. I love Washington, D.C., but it's not always the prism about what the truth is politically in this country. And it's evident to me, talking to Democratic voters in New Hampshire, which is a battleground state, that so many Democratic voters, even if they have concerns about President Biden and his debate performance, they want to stick with President Biden because they do not want to have a civil war inside of their party ahead or during the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. And there's also acceptance here in Washington, based on my reporting, that President Biden is someone who was elected to the Senate in 1972. He's not walking away because he feels a little pressure.
Top of mind at the meeting. Congressional correspondent Nicole Killian is there. Lawmakers have been trickling out, Nicole. We had Nancy Cordes earlier in the broadcast say that the vibe is a little disjointed. And if you're a Democrat, if you're a voter, you don't want to hear that. You want everybody to be on the same page. What are you hearing?
Honestly, I think that there are more Democrats that want Trump. I think even the Democrats are ready for the economy to go back to the way it was.
Well, I don't think that should be unsurprising, though, right? I mean, we have come into this week and members came into this meeting with some calling on the president to step aside as the nominee and others who are rallying strongly behind him. So naturally, one would expect that there's going to be some tension there. What we have been told from the few members who have spoken with us, because many have.
I do too. I bet they're begging him to come now.
A declined comment is that this is a family discussion, that there is not necessarily a consensus right now, that people do have different views. Some people have other views of what they feel the ticket should look like. Some people
They're going to let him win because they got all the money that they needed. What was it? Some $1 trillion? That was what all those 3 years was trillions of dollars being funneled, in my opinion, allegedly.
Have some very personal concerns with respect to, polling and how this race and other races down ballot could play out. And then there are others who just feel like, look, this guy is our nominee. We need to move forward. So that is the internal machinations of this meeting in some, which has played out publicly, I would note, for the better part of a week plus since this debate in Atlanta last month. So when I continue to ask members if they think Democrats can ultimately be on the same page, the answers are a bit eluding. And, no one seems to kind of know what that path forward is. There are a majority of members, I think, that do feel it is time to rally behind the nominee. That is why you saw the president reach out to the Congressional Black Caucus last night, which is a very powerful bloc within the House Democratic Caucus. But you also still have some more moderate members that remain on the fence. We have equally seen in addition to the Congressional Black Caucus, progressives and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus chairs come out in support of the president. But again, you still have these competing forces to reach that consensus about whether President Biden should remain on this ticket.
All right, Nicole Killian reporting live for us from the Democratic Campaign Committee.
Today, President Biden addresses foreign policy as he tries to put a stop to concerns about his health and re-election campaign. Biden is hosting the NATO summit in Washington as former President Donald Trump takes to the campaign trail tonight in Florida. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand has the story from Capitol Hill.
Washington is rolling out the red carpet for World Allies Tuesday, marking the 75th anniversary of the NATO alliance. President Biden will address that group later today as questions swirl domestically about his health and candidacy.
Has the president been treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not. Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No.
The White House has been peppered with questions as the president insists he's staying in the race. His GOP opponent, former President Donald Trump, has a rally this evening in Florida with Senator Marco Rubio. He weighed in on Sean Hannity's show.
It looks to me like he
Do y'all like Rubio? I do.
may very well stay in. He's got an ego and he doesn't want to quit.
President Biden is also trying to prevent defections here on Capitol Hill. He's secured some key backing, but others in the party remain unconvinced.
We would be better off with another nominee, okay? I believe that in my heart, my soul, my brain. I'm 100% convinced of that.
Congressman Adam Smith of Washington is among the 6 House Democrats publicly calling for the president to exit the race and claims privately there are more.
They have different reasons for not wanting to say it. I think it's a high, high number.
Other House Democrats say they're united.
We're riding with Biden. We're riding with Biden.
The GOP leaders have already made it plain that chaos is their friend. I'm not going to give them more chaos.
But some senior Democrats say the president needs to do more to show he has the energy and capacity to win the race. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
White House visitor logs show that Dr. Kevin Kennard, a neurologist at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, visited the White House at least 8 times since last August. 3 of those visits occurred this year and included a visit with Biden's physician. The visitor logs don't provide reasons for the visit, including whether it was in reference to the president. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says Biden had
3 rows, 4 seasons, built for the unstoppable. Kia, movement that inspires.
President Biden ramping up his outreach to congressional Democrats this morning, sending them a strongly worded letter arguing that the voters of the Democratic Party chose him as the nominee, and in a new interview just moments ago, daring any opponents to run against him.
This morning, the pressure on President Biden intensifying as Democrats on Capitol Hill grow increasingly anxious about his campaign in the wake of that debate performance. At least 4 more House Democrats now say they believe the president should leave the race, bringing the total to at least 9. The president speaking out this morning.
We're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I'm.
Joining me right now is one of those 5 House Democrats that has publicly called on Biden to exit the race, Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton. Good to see you, my friend. We're glad you're here. Let's see. You came in at number 3 or 4 on Friday of the 5 that have made this distinction, calling for the president to step aside. You couldn't have done it easily, right? In the statement, here's what you said. Now is the time for President Biden to step aside, to let new leaders rise up and run against former President Trump. When your current strategy isn't working, it is rarely the right decision to double down. President Biden is not going to get younger. Walk us through how you got to this position.
Well, first of all, Alex, this was a difficult decision because I think President Biden has been an amazing president who's done so much for our country as president, and of course, for decades serving in the Senate before. He's also been a close personal mentor to me. I used to go to his house for breakfast when he was vice president, and he coached me on being a new member of Congress. He campaigned for me up in my district in Massachusetts. So first of all, I just had a lot of conversations behind the scenes, trying to talk to people in the White House, in the inner circle, trying to convey the concerns that myself and many of my colleagues and many of my constituents share, that he may not be the best choice to take on Donald Trump and ensure we win in November. But when those behind the scenes conversations didn't work, I decided it was time to go public with the concerns that so many of us Democrats share.
Yeah. And by the way, if I misspoke and say
he will go to any lengths to maintain his grip on power.
Now, Republicans actually, Sandra, sent over their interns to troll Democrats. And you can see here they're holding up the sign, "Is Joe Biden fit for office?" And at this hour, I don't know if Democrats can answer that question. Sandra?
All right. Thank you for setting that up for us, Aisha Hasni. Gianno Caldwell is Fox News political analyst, and he joins us now. The Democrats,
members of President Biden's family blaming his top campaign advisors and the CNN moderators for the president's poor debate performance, saying advisors overprepared him and they should be fired or demoted. Reports are also revealing this morning that First Lady Jill Biden and his son Hunter were the loudest voices, urging the president to stay in the 2024 race. Time magazine reporting First Lady Jill privately assured donors Joe was, quote, ready to go before the debate. Billionaire investor and Pershing Square CEO Bill Ackman says he is no longer blaming Biden for refusing to step aside and is now saying it's really Jill Biden's fault. Here's what Ackman wrote on X. Jill Biden becomes irrelevant the moment her husband is no longer president. No more Air Force One, no more glamorous life, no more White House dinners for dignitaries, no more being treated like a queen when traveling the world. I'm sorry to be harsh, but what has become entirely clear is that the First Lady values what is best for herself over her husband's health and the safety and security of the country at large. Joining me now is
She still hasn't come in to do the press conference. I'll keep peeking over.
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
Folks, I know with every fiber of my being, I know I won't look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around a little bit. Well, all kidding aside, you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I, honest to God, have never been more optimistic about America's future if we stick together. So I really mean it. We're all imperfect beings. We don't know where or what fate will deliver us to or when. What we do know is that we can seek a life of light, hope, love, and truth no matter what. We can seek that life.
Back at 6:14 this morning, President Biden is facing a critical few days in Washington as he hosts world leaders for the NATO summit. He spent yesterday on the campaign trail in Battleground, Pennsylvania, as he continues to try to shore up support among members of his own party. Still, more Democratic lawmakers join growing calls for the president to step aside with just 4 months until the election. Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
Well, you have to convince NATO that you're up for the job.
President Joe Biden leaving Pennsylvania defiant in the face of questions about whether he's fit to serve another term. The president saying he's up for the job, even as members of his own party push for him to bow out of the 2024 race.
We got a lot to do, folks, but we can do it. We're on the cusp of getting so much done.
On the ground, the president got support from the state's Democratic governor and 2 U.S. senators.
I am proud to stand right here next to this president right now. He's my president. He's your president.
But over the weekend, more House Democrats publicly called on Mr. Biden to step aside. And CBS News has learned that during a virtual meeting Sunday, at least 4 senior House Democrats said the president should end his bid for re-election. That's according to one person on the call and 3 others familiar with the meeting. Others on the call reportedly expressed reservations, but stopped short of calling for his withdrawal.
Either he has to win overwhelmingly or he has to pass the torch to someone who can't. It's as simple as that.
Even Pennsylvania voters who support the president are split over the path forward.
He's a fantastic man, and he's done wonderful.
I think in his eyes, he comes off tough and all, you know, ooh, he's tough guy.
Wonderful stuff, but it's time for him to leave.
The party should stand up, stand behind him, and stop all the rhetoric and backbiting.
President Biden has a jam-packed week hosting the NATO summit in Washington, during which he'll also hold his first solo U.S. news conference in several months.
Well, Biden also plans to head back on the campaign trail at the end of the week with a rally in Michigan. Meanwhile, his Republican opponent, former President Donald Trump, has rallies planned this week in Florida.
As top Democrats and donors scramble in Washington, tonight an impassioned group of voters here in the swing state of Pennsylvania are focused on the road to November and committed to Joe Biden.
I'm definitely sticking by him. I said, I don't care if they push him in a wheelchair, I'm going to vote for him.
I think that everyone should keep in mind the core of the importance of this election.
Despite the president's poor debate performance, many voters say the stakes in November are too high for him to drop out now.
I fear that if we were to go to have another Trump administration, the rights and privileges I had when I was her age, she will no longer have them.
But even in this group of staunch Democrats, some believe the president staying in the race is too risky.
Well, I'm concerned, you know, as we all are, that he might not be up.
Thank you for coming, Joyful Dolphin. Thank you.
Ultimately,
have a great
staying
day.
or going is Biden's own call to make.
If he makes that decision to step down, then I will go along with what he decides to do.
Who would be the next person in your mind to be at the top of the ticket?
Well, we have a vice president, and she should be the first top of the ticket. That's what I believe.
We asked the voters you heard from, if Biden were to drop out, is there a Democrat who you wouldn't support at the top of the ticket? Everyone said no. They would vote for whoever the Democrat was running against Trump.
You can turn any slogan or funny quote into a professional design in just minutes with one tool, making text-only designs, whether that's shirts.
Thank you.
My name is Felicia Spriggs Wilkerson. I am the president of AFSCME's Local 3130, as well as the District Council 90 Advisory Board for AFSCME. It is my honor and my privilege to ask you all to help me welcome the President of the United States, President Joe Biden.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband. And I feel like every time I come back to Pennsylvania, I feel like I'm coming home. No. I was born and mostly raised in Scranton, as we say in Scranton. And I married a Philly girl, Julie from Philly. But I tell you what, after I went to a local parade, a little parade, in a little place called Hocassin, Delaware, right on the Pennsylvania border after our son had passed, and I was sitting there at home thinking it was his favorite parade, so I decided just to go into it. And I was walking along in this small community, and 4 guys about your size came running up to me. I thought the Secret Service was going to kill them. And they came running up, swear to God, true story, said, "Joe, what's all this damn stuff about Pennsylvania? You're from Delaware."
Town, for real.
From Delaware. Yeah, but it never leaves you. Anyway, thank you. Look, folks, I make no apologies for being the most pro-union president in American history. No, I mean it. You've heard me say it before, but I'll say it again and again and again. The middle class built this country, not Wall Street. And guess what? Unions built the middle class. And I know how to say union. It's amazing how a lot of people talk about labor. Unions. Asked me to be with me my entire career, and I've been with you my entire career. And by the way, I know there's a lot, we have a lot to talk about. I'm not going to make a campaign speech now, but just to say 2 things. One of the things we're going to change in the second term is we're going to have a fair tax system. We got a little fair. We made those 55 companies that didn't pay a penny in taxes and made $40 billion. We made them pay, but it's only 23%. So they're not paying, 15%, they're not paying enough. You got out there, literally, you got 1,000 billionaires in America, up to 1,000 billionaires. You know what their average tax rate is? 8.3%. Well, no, but here's the point I want to make, Joe. This is very serious. I'm not joking about this one. The fact of the matter is, Trump wants to give him another, and he's said it, a $5 trillion tax cut over the next 5 years. No, I'm not joking. You know what we're going to do? We're going to stop it, and we're going to spend that money on child care. We're going to send that money, no, I mean it. We're going to send that money on elder care. We're going to, look, folks, all of those things that people gave me credit for, or the critics said, Biden's just a big spender. And first of all, we ended with actually a little bit of a surplus.
Here is to ensure that Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker. Overwhelmingly, people say, "Oh yeah, of course. Like we have to do that. Like the region, the state, the country will be better with Democrats holding gavels." I'm just.
It's a crucial week for President Joe Biden and the future of his candidacy.
He's facing calls from within his own party to drop out. That's as Biden is also set to host the NATO summit in D.C. starting today. ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington.
Congressional Democrats in a closed-door meeting this morning planning the future of the party as President Biden fights for support.
He's a good man. I don't think so, SDA.
There's no reason to
I don't think
Congressman
so.
Steve Cohen after the meeting saying they are not on the same page.
They're not even in the same book.
In a letter yesterday to congressional Democrats, Biden writes, "The question of how to move forward has been well aired for over a week now, and it's time for it to end."
He just has to step down because he can't win. A dismissive letter is not going to change any mind.
Last night, the president meeting virtually with the Congressional Black Caucus. According to a person on the call, Biden said, "I need you. I'm not going to disappoint you. I promise you."
I feel very reassured by the president's plan.
The White House is facing questions over the health of the president after official logs showed an expert in Parkinson's disease visited the White House 8 times in 8 months.
Is the president being treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not. Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No.
I certainly could clear this all up just by saying what he was doing here and if it was connected to the president, yes or no.
I am not going to confirm a particular neurologist, anybody.
Overnight, Biden's personal doctor releasing a letter saying the expert evaluated the president 3 times, each as a part of Biden's annual physical. During the most recent physical in February, the doctor writes Biden showed no signs of Parkinson's. Former President Trump on Fox News last night.
It looks to me like he may very well stay in. He's got an ego and he does.
President Biden did his best Monday morning to save himself. He sent a letter to congressional Democrats and he called in to Morning Joe. No video. Notice, first off, neither of this was spontaneous, unscripted stuff. Letter obviously written in advance. And Morning Joe, all signs were was that he was reading off notes, if not an outright script. More importantly, the substance of his arguments is deadly thin. The letter talked about basically he is in it. He is committed to running the rest of the way, blah, blah, blah. And of course, he won the primaries. 18 million people voted for him there, blah, blah, blah. How can Democrats stand for democracy if they push him aside? No one will have voted for the nominee then. On Morning Joe, he also complained that, the elites are against me, but the people are still with me.
If you could imagine your ideal way of working, what would it look like? Monday.com can make it your.
Cheers. Yeah.
Is he doing enough to assuage concerns among the caucus about his ability to win against Trump in November?
I think this is the president has said it himself that he's going to be out there, right? This is about campaigning and hustling. My answer is, we'll see. Like let's see the press conference. Let's see the campaign stops. Let's see all of this because all of it is going to be necessary. The president knows that he did not have a good debate performance. He knows that he has to be out there in people's districts, out in the communities, out in these tough states. He knows that, and that's what we'll see in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you so much.
It's entirely coincidental, but I just happened to be in the United States as the Joe Biden White House melted down after his catastrophic debate performance the other night. And ever since then, I and many others have been left with a million questions. The biggest one being, if Joe Biden is too incompetent and is incapacitated and isn't running the country, then just who the hell is?
Exactly.
As long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do, that's what this is about.
The goodest job. Yes, he did goodest for you, Mr.
Did
President.
the goodest
And
job.
by the way, you need to contrast how Joe Biden was at that debate to how he sounded just 4 years ago.
Nobody making less than
All by
$400,000 will pay a penny more in tax under my proposal.
That's a promise.
That's a guarantee, a promise. I give you my word as a Biden. That's an absolute guarantee.
And you think it's a good idea to raise taxes when the economy's in dire straits?
Depending who you're raising them on. Look, if you're raising somebody who's making $1 billion a year, it's not a problem that they pay 39.6%, which everybody should pay, raise another $90 billion.
Now, whatever you think about taking somebody's word as a Biden, oh boy, you simply cannot tell me that something has not happened to that man over the past 4 years. Anyway, now, as we know, the Democrats are attempting the ultimate cleanup on Aisle Joe, a cleanup operation the size of Chernobyl to salvage their hold on power with, for the moment at least, this guy at the helm. As part of this program, Joe Biden sat down on Friday for a pre-recorded, heavily edited interview with none other than George Stephanopoulos to prove that he was indeed of sound mind and body. George Stephanopoulos, by the way, for those of us with long memories, was the guy who, as a young staffer on the 1992 Bill Clinton campaign, helped clean up what were then colloquially known as bimbo eruptions. Charming.
Gosh.
So I think we know why he was chosen for this gig. Anyway, let's see how it all went down, shall we? Among other things, Joe Biden was unable to remember if he even watched a replay of his disastrous debate with Donald Trump.
Teal Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bobulinski, I heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a business
Did you
deal,
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir? Specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me,
statutes.
sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is the
It's a category of crimes that you're then charged
You
under
have charges.
A long 100
You
list
have
of
charges. Sir, please
Want me to name the exact statute under RICO?
Yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 18
All right, sir. I reclaim my time.
lawyers that
I
went to
reclaim
law
my
school.
time. I
I'll leave
reclaim
it
my
up to
time.
you guys
Okay,
to
thank
define
you,
the
sir. I
statute
reclaim my
under
time.
RICO.
Clearly, what we are seeing here today is a continuation of the 15-month saga of the Republican majority lost in the desert. Impeachment 101. The majority party, or whomever is raising impeachment, must accuse the president of a high crime, a specific high crime or misdemeanor. I would like to submit to the record HRES 918, the House resolution to open this impeachment inquiry.
Without objection to order.
This resolution does not outline a high crime or misdemeanor. It's not here. Now, when we compare Amberisma and all of this, this entire inquiry is based on a blockbuster piece of information that was in a classified SCIF room. And inside that room was a document alleging President Biden directly of a $10 million bribery scheme, a $10 million bribery scheme, extremely serious. What happened? What happened a month ago, Mr. Chairman? That document, the FBI arrested the person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI. This entire impeachment inquiry is based on an actual, provable individual who has lied. Now, responsible leadership would withdraw an inquiry based on that. Withdraw it. Instead, what we are seeing is that this committee was warned about the falsehoods of these allegations long before that, warned by Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and yet they proceeded anyway. The chairman proceeded anyway. This committee was warned by Rudy Giuliani associate right here, Lev Parnas, after that document about the falsehoods of this. Then held hearings where your own expert witnesses said that there was no grounds for impeachment, and you proceeded anyway. And finally, as if none of this was enough, the FBI arrested the individual who was the source of the entire, to quote the chairman, heart of the matter, to launch this impeachment inquiry, and proceeded anyway. At this point, the story is not the fact that the basis of this impeachment inquiry is wrong. The story is why it's proceeding anyway. Why is this committee proceeding based on false charges? And by the way, no charges. I have yet to hear in the chairman's opening the allegation that they are specifically charging the President of the United States with. I'm hearing about Biden family. I'm hearing about this and that. I am not hearing the specific allegation by this committee. What is it? It's not here, and that is the problem. The story is when this committee knew that they were working with falsified evidence. That's the story. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair now recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On March 1st, 2024, Joe Biden stated he did not interact with Hunter or Jim Biden business associates. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into a record New York Post article. Biden insists he did not interact with his
Without objection to order.
We're going to go fast here. I have strictly yes or no questions. On that note, the New York Post article, Joe Biden also said, read the record of every single witness. So I did. I first read Devin Archer's deposition, and he interacted with Joe Biden. Then I read the transcripts of Wab Walker, Eric Schwerin, George Burgess, Kevin Morris, Tony Bobulinski, and Jason Galanis. And every single one of them interacted with Joe Biden. And that's just the people we interviewed. Mr. Galanis, my first questions are for you. Did Hunter Biden call Joe Biden with Elena Badarina on the line on May 4th, 2014, yes or no?
Yes.
In that call, did Hunter Biden state on this call with Joe Biden that everything is good and we're moving forward?
Yes, he did.
Okay, on the same call, did Joe Biden in the call was saying, okay, then you be good to my boy?
Yes, he said that as well.
Okay, did Badarina agree to put $20 million into one of Hunter Biden's business projects days later after this phone call?
Yes.
Okay, did Hunter Biden ever take a call from Joe Biden while at the Peninsula Bar in New York?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear them.
Did Hunter Biden ever take a call from Joe Biden while at the Peninsula Bar in New York?
Yes, he did.
During this call, did Hunter Biden update Joe Biden on progress in landing a business partnership with Harvest Fund Management?
Yes.
Okay. Was Harvest a $300 billion Chinese financial services company closely tied to the Chinese Communist Party?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is Hunter Biden involved with Harvest?
Hunter Biden is involved in Harvest in two ways, through BHR, which is a fund.
Yes or no? Was Hunter
Biden
Biden involved with Harvest? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. As part of the deal,
extensive emails to that effect.
as
also.
part of the deal, did Hunter Biden want the company to reserve a board seat for Joe Biden?
Yes.
Okay. Did Henry Zhao, a Chinese businessman, want assurances Joe Biden would join the board? Yes or no?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Did
He's
Hunter
expressed
Biden?
that in emails as well.
Okay, thank you.
And conversations.
Did Hunter Biden draft an email stating, please also remind Henry Zhao of our conversation about a board seat for a certain relation of mine. Devin and I golfed with that relation earlier this week, and we discussed this very idea again. And as always, he remains very, very keen on the opportunity. Here is a photo of Joe Biden and Devin Archer and Hunter Biden golfing days before the alleged email draft. Do you believe a certain relation of mine refers to Joe Biden?
I don't think there's any question. It was based on first-hand conversations with Devin Archer, who was in that picture and at that golf meeting.
Did you ever meet with Devin Archer where Hunter took calls from his father?
Yes.
Okay. During one of these phone calls, did Hunter Biden tell Joe Biden that he and Henry Zhao needed help getting, quote, getting across the finish line?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Mr. Bobulinski, do you recall receiving an email that floated the possibility of giving 10% ownership of Sinohawk to Joe Biden through Hunter Biden?
Yes.
Okay, my last questions are for both of you very quickly. Mr. Bobulinski and Mr. Galanis, you both stated you were told not to use Joe Biden's name in communications, correct, Mr. Bobulinski?
Correct.
Mr. Galanis?
Yes.
Okay. Did Joe Biden participate in phone conversations and meetings with Hunter Biden, his business associates, and foreign interests, yes or no? Mr. Bobulinski?
He clearly did. He met
Okay,
me
Mr. Galanis, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. In Hunter Biden's deposition, he said he did not involve his father in his business. Did Hunter Biden lie under oath, yes or no? Mr. Bobulinski?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis?
This is
That's
all
what he said, yes. I believe
Okay.
that's
crazy.
Is Joe Biden lying when he says he did not
All
interact with Hunter
unfolding
Biden, Jim
right
Biden,
now,
their business
too.
partners or forward interests? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis?
This is today. This is happening
In a
now.
debate on October 22nd, 2020, Joe Biden denied Hunter Biden made money from
I
China.
guess they're gonna
And Hunter
impeach
Biden, his
him,
business
huh?
associates, and foreign interests
This
include money
is
from Chinese
impeachment.
businesses, business partners, and or interests. Yes or no? Mr. Bobulinski?
I'm sorry. Did the
Did Hunter
Biden family
receive
make money?
from Chinese
Correct,
business
yes.
interests? Mr. Galanis? Did Hunter Biden
Money from-
receive money from Chinese business interests? Yes or no?
Yes, he was.
Okay, thank
yes,
you.
he has economic interest, and yes.
All right. Joe
Yes,
Biden
we
has
follow.
repeatedly claimed that he was not involved in in Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, or any other Biden family business deals. Today, our witnesses have proved otherwise. Today, we've established Joe Biden lied about interacting with Hunter Biden's business associates. It is my belief Joe Biden is the closer for Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and their business associates in foreign interests. Good luck to the left proving otherwise. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair now recognizes Ms. Porter from California.
The title of this hearing is Influence Peddling, examining Joe Biden's abuse.
Cali Express touts itself as the world's first fully autonomous restaurant. To the road launch.
Commercial,
of public
sorry.
office. Look, the impeachment inquiry is dead. If it was on life support, my colleague Ocasio-Cortez just killed it. There is no allegation of a specific crime. President Biden didn't do anything wrong. There's zero evidence of that. And still, both Democrats and Republicans and the media treat these hearings like the Super Bowl. But no one ever wins, and Americans always lose. So I've got a fresh direction for this hearing. All we have to do is cross off the part after the colon. There. Just influence peddling. We should have a policy discussion about how to stop government officials from using their positions to get money or favors. Now, that is a real hearing, one that nearly every American, regardless of party, wants us to hold. We could start by talking about how senior executive branch officials can leave public service, wait just 1 year, and then legally become lobbyists for big corporations, scoring their new employers profitable government contracts and favorable regulations. They can even be paid by the big corporations during that short 1 year while they are waiting to become lobbyists as a down payment for their future ability to peddle influence. That's wrong. For the panel of witnesses,
Peddling
by show of
influence.
hands,
We see that here every day. Peddling
Americans,
influence.
would our witnesses support extending this 1 year waiting period to at least 2 years?
No, I would.
Okay, so there we go. Republicans, Democrats, even convicted criminals, everybody supports that we should do more to stop influence peddling. This is the kind of good government reform that Americans of all political stripes support. And I should know, in 2022, I passed that exact reform as an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act with a bipartisan majority vote. What happened to that amendment? Why didn't it become law? The answer is simple. Nearly 500 former members of Congress worked for lobbying firms. And too many people around here want to follow in their footsteps. And so don't want to make it harder for government officials to become lobbyists. Ultimately, Democratic leadership under then Speaker Nancy Pelosi let the amendment get stripped out of the final bill. When I offered up the amendment again during this Congress, Republican leadership under then Speaker Kevin McCarthy never even put the amendment up for a vote. Both parties have let us down on fighting influence peddling and tackling corruption. But I'm hopeful we can begin a new approach in this very committee. The American people should know that regardless of party, should know that an investigation was conducted into whether Joe Biden did anything wrong. We followed the evidence to where it led a dead end. So this impeachment inquiry should end today. And where should we go from here? We should stop partisan attacks on each other and address the real problem. That the American people believe that the rules that prevent corruption are way too weak. To stop politicians on both sides of the aisle from influence peddling. This committee should be working together in a bipartisan way to change the culture of Congress, to crack down on influence peddling and corruption, and just as importantly, to stop the perception of it. Let me give you some facts. I don't even need a whiteboard for this one. 495 former members of Congress worked for lobbying firms. 467 members of Congress take corporate PAC money. 78 members of Congress violated the Stock Act last Congress. Clearly, we have our work cut out for us. So let's start the conversation today on what a bipartisan ethics reform package could look like. Here are the organizations that could have come today as witnesses so we could have had a productive conversation. Oversight staff, do you have your notebooks ready? Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, Common Cause, Project on Government Oversight, Public Citizen. With the right witnesses and the commitment to doing what the American people want, this committee can have a real conversation about the problem of influence peddling. And we can pass legislation to create badly needed ethics guardrails. That would be real work, not a real circus. I yield back.
Before I recognize Mr. Timmons, Ms. Porter, I think you are sincere, and I look forward to working with you on that legislation.
Chairman, can we take a 5-minute break? I need to go to the bathroom.
Let us get one more, and then we'll do that. Chair recognizes Mr. Timmons for 5 minutes, then we'll take a break because we have votes coming up anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At our hearing last July, I laid out the scheme that the Bidens concocted to
Make
sell
him
the Biden
sit
brand,
through 5 more
netting almost
minutes.
$30 million for various members of the
He
Biden
just
family.
said he needed
This
to
scheme was
use the
repeated with
bathroom. He
various
goes,
clients in
yeah, in
Kazakhstan,
5 more
China,
minutes.
Romania, Russia, and Ukraine. I'm
Poor
going to spend my
guy.
time on just one
Hope he
instance,
didn't have Taco
Ukraine,
Bell.
specifically involving Burisma, which netted Hunter over $3 million during a 3-year period. And to clarify,
I dropped
the
you a
criminal
link there,
offenses being
Tara.
alleged, for Hunter Biden, it is conspiracy to commit bribery, 18 U.S.C. Section 201 B, 2A, and C. And for Joe Biden, it's conspiracy to commit extortion under color of official right, 18 U.S.C. Section 1951 B2. And if you want a refresher on those, just look up Senator Menendez and his wife's indictment. So let's start with this. Foreign client has a problem. I've got an email here from Vadim Pozharsky, the Secretary of Burisma.
I
and
know
he
it.
is advocating that Hunter Biden intervene with high-level U.S. officials to facilitate meetings and communications expressing their positive opinion of Zlochevsky, the president of Burisma, to the Ukrainian president,
Hey,
Chief of
come on
Staff,
up.
Prosecutor General, with the ultimate purpose
Girl,
to
if
close
they
down
don't go
any
ahead and
cases
impeach this
against
man,
Zlochevsky in
Oh, I
Ukraine.
know it.
This is dated
he don't even
November
know
2nd,
what planet
November
he's
2nd.
on.
Now, keep in mind,
He doesn't.
and again, foreign client has a problem. Zlochevsky's being investigated by Victor Shokin, the
I
uh,
showed
Inspector
earlier
General
where
of Ukraine, and he
Obama
needs help. the
literally
Biden
had
plan.
his
So
arm on
here
his
we got
shoulder
bank
like a
records galore
puppet,
of
sending him
Hunter
out.
Biden receiving,
While
prior to this
helping him
email,
walk
over $1
off
million.
stage
After this
yesterday.
email, $2 million. You'll find out in a second who really earned his fee.
I had never in my life.
So again,
This really
client pays
was
Biden $3 million.
Obama's third term.
Next.
I know people
What is it?
joke
Well,
about it, but
this is
it's
great.
coming
11
to
days
pass
later,
to be
11
true.
days later, we have
Oh, yeah.
the U.S. Embassy
When
in
they keep
Ukraine
asking who's
announcing
running the
Vice
country,
President Biden is traveling to
by the
Ukraine
mess
on
that we're
December
in,
7th.
you could definitely believe
Interesting.
Obama
Yeah.
got his
Vice
hands in
President
it.
Biden travels to the country. Here we got a great
Yeah,
photo of
it
them
appears
touching
that
down. They're very
way.
proud of themselves. So Vice President
All
Biden
Trump's got to
leverages
do is
US
sit back and
policy
just
to achieve
let
a
them
favorable
show
outcome for
out.
We've all seen
Because
the
now
video.
they're
He
fighting
brags
over
about
whether he
leveraging
should
US
give it up or
foreign,
not. If I was Kamala,
loan,
I would be like, what do you think I am,
to
chopped liver?
get the Ukrainian government
know,
to
she's
fire Viktor
bitching.
Shokin to end the investigation. Again, we've got the email from Podolsky
I bet she's
that
saying,
we
you
need
better
to
step over,
leverage
old
you,
man.
who have not
It's
provided
my
value
turn.
yet for your $1 million in service, Hunter.
I have
Who
never.
brings in the big guy.
I think it was a deal.
Biden.
I think they
leverages US
agreed,
influence, withholds
okay,
$1 billion in loan
you know,
guarantee to fire
I'll
Shokin.
hang in there
So
for
if that's
3,
not
but let me
enough,
at least have 1
we
year.
got the victory lap here. We got an email
You
just
know
a few
what?
months later saying, "Whoa, we won in
This
less than a
man
year.
made a comment
You brought us in, so take
the
a
other
victory
day
lap." So look, I mean, this is
that he was going to be the
straightforward. This is
president of the United
straightforward.
States again.
Pay to play.
2020.
It is bribery. Hunter Biden was paid $3 million
That
at
in
the
2020,
lowest point in his
no,
life.
2024,
He
he was
got the
going to be the
euro.
president
But he's never
again.
been to Ukraine. Yet he
This is
paid
going to be
$3
his
million
second
to
term.
get his father to go
He
to
wasn't
solve
stepping
his
down.
client's problem. That is the
I
scheme.
That's
said,
the thing
Lord,
with
sweet baby
dementia.
Jesus.
Does this
They
sound
get
like the scheme you've
defiant.
seen the Biden family do?
Right? I mean, they get
I wasn't
ornery.
involved in
And I think
Ukraine.
that
the
That's what's
French
happening now. I was like, oh no, the old
Vice
man won't sit down.
and Romania.
He's running with scissors.
This is the thing.
But
If Hunter Biden
please
were
God
here,
let him fall. Lord, I'm
we would be
sorry.
able to ask him some questions, maybe clear this up.
I did not
But
mean
he's
that.
not. He's not here.
I did not mean
And
that.
what's
What
interesting?
I
I
don't see
meant
him
was
making it 6 months.
Peter
I
Navarro
don't think
reported
he's
the federal
gonna.
prison in
I
Miami
can't
for
believe
4
she's not
months
giving the poor
for
guy.
not
He
showing
must
up in
have
front
done
of the
her
January 6th
wrong,
committee. And I want
Tara.
to point out to everybody
She's got
that
this
the
guy
January
out
6th
here
committee was
pooping
procedurally
himself and
defective under House
everything. I mean,
rules. It
he
was
must have
procedurally
done
defective
her
because,
wrong the way she's
the
propping him
minority
up
leader
like
did not
that.
get to appoint
And
members
that's
to
going to
that
be
committee.
his
The
legacy.
United States
She
House of
must
Representatives Oversight
despise
and Accountability
him.
Committee is a
She
procedurally
hates him, or she wouldn't be. This isn't what a
and we
wife
have
would do.
authority to subpoena
Someone
Hunter
she
Biden, and he
loves,
has
you
to show
know,
up.
she would be getting
He
him
has
help
to
and
answer these
letting
questions,
him rest
and he has
before
to
he
tell the
goes
world
on to the
that
pearly gates.
his
You know what I'm
father didn't
saying?
Well, they
leverage
say
U.S.
that
foreign
she is a
policy so he would
power
get $3 million.
hungry,
This is no different
money
than what Senator
hungry
Menendez
somebody.
did.
So
And look, the American
I
people
don't
are
think
not buying this
I don't
nonsense
know.
y'all are selling. We have to restore.
But you know, if you remember,
We must
Nancy
restore
Reagan
their
ran the
faith in
country
our institutions.
when Ronald
And we
Reagan
have to
got
stop
sick.
this ridiculous
She
pretense system of
hid.
justice where
He was
Nancy
sick.
Department of
Reagan
Justice
ran the
persecutes
country?
President
Yeah.
Trump and hides
Really?
Hunter
Secret.
Biden behind
Yeah.
Okay.
every
Oh, see, I was,
corner. I mean,
let's see, in the
this
80s,
is
I would
When
have
not
Ronald
been,
Reagan
yeah.
started
the United
losing
States
his
of America that
memory, when he
the
started getting
American people
Alzheimer's,
deserve. And we
she's
have
the
to
one who
get
made the
our country
decisions.
back
That
on
was, I
track. With
mean,
that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
you got
Mr.
the
Chairman,
Secret
parliamentary
Service just come out.
inquiry.
She ran the country the last
Yeah.
couple of years he was in office.
Chair recognizes,
Yeah.
But the whole
pursuant to
thing
the
was,
previous order
she
and
loved
at the
him.
request
Oh,
of
it
the
was
minority
Hinkle
witness, the
that
chair
shot
declares
him,
the committee in
Reagan,
recess
wasn't it? That,
Yeah.
for 10 minutes.
yeah.
Then we're going to come back in
Sorry,
here,
I'm
and then we
season.
may have to recess.
He
For
was
some
in a
reason.
wheelchair for a while too, wasn't he?
Yep.
So they gave it to Nancy instead of his
is another unfortunate attempt by my Republican colleagues to muddy
Vice
the water in
President.
an election year with no
What
proof,
happened was she was
no
running the country
evidence, no
under the
wrongdoing
covers.
at all by President
He was
Biden.
telling her what to do,
The American people are
and that's what
tired
she
of
was
this
doing. And
charade.
then when he got
Damn.
As I
sick,
said before, my Republican
he would come out
colleagues
and
simply
say,
grasp
"This is
at
what
straws
Ronald
that do
wants
not
you to
exist.
do.
While
This
House
is what
Do you feel
Ronald
like
told
that
me."
happened a lot
administration worked to
between
cut
Hillary
costs of
and Bill
prescription drugs,
too?
expand student
She
Yes.
told him
forgiveness,
what to
and
do
mitigate the threat
Oh,
of
and how
hell
to
yeah.
think
Republican members of
and how to
Congress
be
continue
and how to do.
to chase after
Oh,
Russian
yeah.
Yes,
disinformation
she groomed
campaigns
him.
from the 2020 election, which have been
No
thoroughly
doubt.
debunked again and again.
No doubt at all.
And
I believe that
as
she
usual,
feels as
in this
though,
committee, we
how
know
in
who
the
is in
hell
charge.
did I not
It
become
is the
president?
bondless,
That's
broke,
what I think she's
bluffer,
thinking. How
twice
in the
impeached,
hell
4
did
times
this go
indicted,
wrong?
insurrection initiator, election denying,
Exactly.
self-declared
You
dictator
think they'll
on
put
day
her in
one,
there instead of
and
Kamala?
puppet for Putin.
No.
The one who
I don't
wants
think
to
they
terminate
could.
the
How could they?
Constitution and defund
The
the
people
FBI.
spoke. They don't like
The
her.
one who romanticized exchanging of love letters with North Korean dictator
Kamala
Kim
has
Jong-un.
no
The one who just last
real
week
political
embraced
history.
autocrat Orban of Hungary
Well,
to
when you
Very
go
discredit
new.
back and look
diabolical
at her
plans to destroy
record,
our democracy.
what she
The
did,
one who
as I believe
proposed
she
a
was the
policy to ban
ADA
Muslims
in
from this
LA,
country.
Yeah.
The one who
to
just this week said any Jewish person who votes for
people
a
that
Democrat
had
hates their
crimes such
religion
as
and
marijuana
Israel.
and
The
that
one
sort
who
of
called
thing.
neo-Nazis
She
carrying tiki
she
torches
wasn't for
chanting
the
Jews
people.
will not replace us, good
No.
people. The one
She
who
had Highway
referred to
Patrolman
African
arrested.
nations as, I
Stupid
quote,
bitch.
shithole
She did
countries.
some shady
The one
shit
who
that
called
was,
NFL
you
players,
know,
the
not really
majority
being
whom are black,
for the
sons of
community. It
bitches
was
for taking a
against
knee
the
in
community.
protest of the ever-present
My
She was
opinion,
really
allegedly.
against the police.
brutality that continues
Yeah.
to pervade
And that
our
was when she
justice
was with
system.
that dude,
The one who
Brown,
called
right?
Mexicans
Yeah.
rapists and
That's when
promised to
she
build
was
a wall
Foxy
and have them
Brown.
pay for it.
Yeah.
And in case you missed it, it didn't happen. The one who told women of color from the
tell you
born
what.
in the United States, elected to Congress and
As
serving
a
on
vice
this very
president,
committee, to go back to their own
she
country.
had done
The
zero.
one who bragged about grabbing
Absolutely
women
nothing.
by their private
Nothing.
parts. The one
I
who
don't think that she
confused
was
his rape
expected
victim,
to.
whom
I
he
think she
claimed
was like,
not his
they've
father,
even
They wanted
his
her
said,
in
very
there
own ex-wife.
they've
because she
even
was a
The
black
one
said
who
female.
is an admitted
that
and
he is the
committed
talking
adulterer
head.
who
If you
attempted to
remember
pay
Max
off a porn
Headroom
star
from
for
the
her side piece.
MTV,
The one who has
that
publicly mocked
literally
people
Max
with
Headroom, he was
disabilities.
just the
The one
talking
who
head.
dodged the draft and referred to prisoners of war as losers.
What does that
The
say
very
about
people who pay
America?
a high price
How do we
so we
feel
can
about
enjoy the
going to
freedoms
vote
that far too
again?
many
You
of us take
know,
for granted. elected. The
I
one
feel
who
like my
boasted
vote
about
didn't
being
get
able to
counted.
stand
That's
in the
how I
middle of Fifth
feel.
Avenue to
It
and
angers
shoot
me.
someone and not lose votes. The one who promoted political and physical violence multiple times, including most recently at my rally in my home state of Ohio, where he declared there
Yeah,
would
they
be
need to
a
get Trump
bloodbath
back
if
on
he
in there.
didn't
I think
win.
there's
The one
Democrats
who
that want him
intentionally
in
denied
too,
COVID
because
was
their
deadly and
pocketbook
eventually
needs him to come
suggested
back too.
injecting bleach into our
Here's
bodies to
here's
kill the
my concerns for
respiratory
Trump.
virus that took the lives of 1
And
million
I'm just
people
gonna be
in the
honest.
United States. The
I voted
one
for Trump
who
this year.
ordered his
I voted
son-in-law
Trump
get top
the
secret
last two
security
times.
clearance,
Yeah.
overruling
I'm
concerns flagged by
concerned that some
intelligence
idiot is going to
officials
try and,
who,
well,
according to
okay,
this committee's chairman, admitted the former
let me
president's
get my
son-in-law
political
crossed the
attitude on. Okay. My,
She was saying untruths, so I had to shut her up.
yeah, my
Yeah.
401k,
She was babbling.
my
You're
retirement,
fine.
my personal retirement was never larger
Hmm.
than when Donald Trump was in office, okay? Let me just say that. My 401k
Okay.
went through the roof when he was there. Um, what I want to say is this: I'm very concerned. Well, let me backtrack. Trump is well known for having his own personal bodyguards, and these are bodyguards that he's had for over 30 years.
Right.
He's made the comment more than once that he pays these men enough money that he doesn't have to worry about them turning on him. Okay,
Hmm.
he's realistic that these are not only his friends, but he makes damn sure they live just as good as he does, pretty much. Okay,
Right.
so they can't be bought. That's the word I'm looking for. He pays them so they
Right.
can't be bought. When he was in office and the Secret Service came in, Trump said, "Y'all are welcome to come, but these guys come too." He
Mm.
kept them. He would not let them fire his personal bodyguards. Okay, so they
Awesome.
continued with him. Now, what concerns me now is we've got these crazy ass Democrats who
Yes.
are less than they were. But when Ronald Reagan pulled his second term in office, I know that John Hinckley shot him over Tatum O'Neill or whatever, which one of those O'Neills it was.
Jodie
But
Foster.
there you go,
Yeah.
Jodie Foster. Thank you.
Yeah.
I drew a blank. I was like, Tatum O'Neill, Tatum O'Neill. No,
Who's
okay.
now come out, so he wouldn't
Oh
have
yeah, that's
gotten her
right.
anyway.
Well, he's in a halfway house. He ain't going too far.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I'm so scared somebody's gonna try to shoot him. I'm so damn scared. And I know Trump's not stupid. I know he's got, if you look at Trump, if you watch him, watch how he dresses, okay?
Yeah.
There's a Kevlar vest under there.
That has been a topic on social media recently. Why has that act gone out of style?
Well, see, here's the thing. If you really
Why,
look at
why ain't they assassinating no more? People are
because if you
wondering
assess
why
why
they
to
don't
assess,
do that no more.
well, for one thing, it's damn near impossible to get near someone. After Ronald Reagan was shot, the Secret Service, that is the
Yeah.
blackest day for the Secret Service. They
Okay.
stepped their game up, okay?
Okay.
They said never again would a president be shot. I mean, they were hu- humiliated. I mean, there's a whole lot of
Yeah.
big terms we could sit here and use, but let's just be honest. It's
Okay. So
damn near
that's what it
impossible.
is. And that's
Yeah,
why we've got all these cameras on every corner and
yes, it is almost
is
impossible. Yeah.
to capture crime.
But now you see Trump, um, he kind of is like JFK in the fact that he doesn't walk around hidden, okay?
Hmm.
He's right there playing golf. He don't care. He's out in the public like JFK was. He's not enclosed. Um, and if you look, especially his outside rallies, if you look at his rallies, if you look at him when he's like in Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah.
compared to when he's in the public, he goes to about 20 pounds heavier.
Hmm.
They've got his vital organs, other than his head, covered. He's
That's
wearing military
interesting.
grade Kevlar all the way down.
Yeah, but so
Uh huh.
I never thought that that might be why he looks so heavy sometimes.
That's
That's
exactly why.
interesting. Yeah.
They've got all that underneath
Oh,
those
you're
suits.
smart. I was just saying to my husband, I wish he'd lose some weight. It would make him appear more powerful and more in self control if he has a slimmer physique. And I'm surprised that the people around him haven't pushed him to keep his heart healthy during all this. But when he was on stage for the debate, he looked thinner than
Yeah.
usual. And I bet anything that is why, because he wasn't in armor.
That's exactly why, because there was no audience allowed. Okay, there was nobody there. That whole entire, when they did that debate, it was just the two idiots asking questions, Trump and Biden. And I don't know who Biden was waving at when he first came out, but Biden, you didn't have an audience, baby. There was nobody in there.
Yeah.
You're just waving at the audience. It's not there, honey. But anyway.
I saw that too. I wanted to play all of that. I've got like all the gaffs and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Middle fingers up. Okay, I walked into the Twilight Zone.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a good song though. Now it's stuck in my head. To the Twilight Zone, baby. I like that song. Now it's stuck in my head.
Trump's in excellent
I want
health.
to talk to you about Jill. She hates him. Sorry. Tara, if you love that man, would you put him out there where he'd poop himself? Would you put him out there where he'll be made fun of? And that is his legacy, not the wonderful things that I'm sure he didn't throughout the relationship. They clearly hate each other, you know? Don't you think? Oh, I lost her. I just think that's crazy. I'm just following middle fingers up. Don't mind me. Well, thanks for coming in. We are talking about all this stuff going on with Biden. I'm going to try to find that. Where was that? Let's see. Where is that? Oh, did she ever come back on stage? Uh-oh. It's hung up. It's hung up. Let's try this. Pull it up fresh. It is... Is she... Is the press secretary... Oh, there she is. Yes, we're going to find out right here what happened. She finally came out.
And we still push forward. He's the president of the United States. He understands how important it is.
Sorry about
to
that.
Continue to get up every morning, regardless of how you feel, right?
It was
to
Zeke
get
said.
things done. That's how this president is. I'm sure that's how many presidents before him were as well. When it comes to really not letting a cold get you down.
A cold?
And I think that's also why he pushed forward.
She thinks we're
in the debate.
stupid.
Also,
that was
Last
not
time
a
I
cold.
checked,
Look, he pushed forward, trying to
Whatever.
get things done, wanted to make sure that he
a
had
cold did not
opportunity.
make me
People who
delusional.
watched him do a debate, who were waiting for him.
Oh, and he had that rigor mortis stare.
Waiting for him.
It's that whole, that's just rigor mortis syndrome. He's fine. Send him on out. I gotta get some shoes today, says Jill.
The Democrats.
Come on, you got to make some money and get in bed with the Chinese. I got pocketbooks to buy. Michael Kors got a new one
So
out.
I'll say this, Americans out there, folks who are watching, who are not knowing the day-to-day of what's happening in this world, there's a comprehensive
She's like, I got to get all those boob jobs and skin
look at her stance.
repair.
WhiteHouse.gov.
Gypsy, look at her. She can't even make eye contact with the reporters.
She knows.
All right,
I
okay,
bet she
body
hates-
language 101. You guys
She
know I had
hates
to.
her job. She hates her job.
But look at her,
specialist,
okay?
a group
Here's
of
the thing.
specialists,
If I'd had an employee
coming out of
acting
the
like
medical
that
unit,
when I was
decided on
questioning
what
them about
they
something,
examined, what they saw,
I would
what they
immediately
reported
go
on.
their line.
I think that matters as well.
She's got her body turned so that she's protecting herself, okay? That's a
Yeah.
protective
Oh,
stance.
hell yeah.
Extensive physical.
She's not
And so
looking at
there's
anybody in
something
the
new for
eye.
them. It's transparent. It's out
She
there.
can't even
It's for
keep her
them
head
to
up half the
read.
time.
It's
She
for the
knows she's
American, not just
lying.
for you, for the American people to take a look.
Her
And I
eyes
think
I
are,
that's
feel
important
bad
to
for
are
her
down.
sometimes because you know she's
Even when
got
she
to
lifts
get
her
in
head
there
up,
and
she's looking
lie.
down.
Thanks, Karina. The president said yesterday in his letter, in his
Had a
interview,
cold.
that he
Give me
talked
a
to a wide range of
break.
voters. He overwhelmingly heard from people who
Sweetheart,
wanted him to stay in the race.
you're going to hell.
Our polling shows
You need to
that
repent.
Right.
think he is too old to run this year. How is he coming to this conclusion? Are you sure that a handful of events is giving him a representative view of swing state voters?
Well, they're just saying in the other live that we were watching that the impeachment that he was in bed with the Chinese.
And, you know, I'm not going to speak to polls. It's not something I'm going to do.
He is in bed with the Chinese. They've made billions of dollars.
Hell yeah.
Hello. Biden, you do realize your son's going to jail, right? He's in jail, right?
For the
real
past
low
3.5 years, the president
Jill.
has been out there talking to voters.
Right.
And
Because
if you think
she
about it,
isn't
what he
old
was
with
referring
dementia.
to when we went
You know what I'm
to-
saying?
not.
What is
when he
her
went to Atlanta
excuse?
right after the
Money,
March Party,
baby.
Right, yeah.
He literally did a rope
I bet
line.
she's got
Some of
some,
your colleagues were there. Some of your colleagues spoke
Javier
to,
on the side.
some of the folks who were there and heard from them directly. He heard from folks at the rope line. I mean, these are everyday, engaging with everyday people. That's what he did. Landed at 2 a.m. in the morning in North Carolina, hundreds of people there. He did a rope line, engaged with everyday people. The next day, thousands of folks, thousands of people.
I don't remember a rope line in
were
North
at the
Carolina,
North
do you?
Carolina event,
Well, they
and
said
you
the
heard
lady that
chants,
did
"Let's
the
go, Joe. We
local
love you, Joe."
interview
I mean, that's something
that they
you
called
feel,
ahead of
right?
time
That's something
and
that you
gave her
feel,
4 questions
out
that
there.
she
And
could
that's what he
ask.
feels out there. The next day, he
Oh.
went to New York, and
It was an
able to
approved
spoke
interview
to speak
with
to some
a
supporters
script.
there, and then went to New Jersey. So
And then
it is
she
a
got on the
huge-
internet and told
Bullshit.
everybody.
Sunday, 600 people at the church. The whole,
She's
if you
like,
watch
"No."
that
They sent
that
me
service,
approved
you
questions
heard
that I
from
could
that
ask them. She's like,
conversation.
this was
If you watched him in
bullshit.
Harrisburg, you saw people.
It's
you
like,
saw
I can't
him
believe they
engaging
didn't make her
with people.
sign
I mean,
a
there's nothing that
NDA.
takes away all respect to the polling out there, but nothing takes away, I don't think, from engaging with everyday Americans. I think that matters too. And that's just, I'm just laying out the last 10 or 12 days, right? That's just the last 10 or 12 days.
Over the weekend, the New York Times reported on a senior White House official who apparently had worked with the president in his vice presidency in the 2020 campaign, said he shouldn't seek re-election. They thought he was not up to it and was showing signs of his age. Does the White House know who this person is or making the effort to find out? And are you comfortable having someone who apparently is traveling with him and working with him in this way?
The problem we have here is they had nobody else to run.
First time
These
I've ever
idiots
heard
had to let
that
Biden
was
run.
in that reporting. You know, this is not the last administration where we try to find who is, you know, speaking or leaking. That's not something
Well,
that we do
where
here.
Nancy,
Everybody
it
has
was
their
okay
opinion,
to
but that is
put
the first
her
time I've heard
on
anything like that.
board,
I've never
but
heard any
his
speak-
kid
anyone
is a
speaking
felon.
from here.
Yes.
So, and is in bed with the Chinese. And that is why they're pressing her on the role he is having in decision makings.
Publicly called for him to go.
Look, I don't have a list of people that the president's going to call. He's going to engage with congressional members. That's something that he's going to do. I can say, you know, I'm sure folks here in his Office of Leg Affairs has.
Do you
had
think they're
regular
going to impeach
communication
him?
with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think?
They're gonna
just
impeach
don't
him.
Yeah, I
have
do
a
too.
list of
He's
who
not going to
going
make
speak
it.
to. But the
They
president
have to impeach him because they can put another
Almost
candidate
made it.
people
in.
who agree with him and don't agree
Yeah.
with him. You know that about him if you've covered him.
They
He's
don't go
very
ahead and
much,
impeach him.
That type of.
They're having a real
president.
hard time
I just
replacing
don't wanna
him.
get ahead of
And
his decision on who he's going to call and how.
Let's watch
Miller
this
doesn't
real
want to
quick.
run. They know they'll slaughter her.
I just wanna have fun, clap my
Sorry,
hands.
I'm
So
excited to
finally be treated with
Juvederm
fillers.
There we go.
Turning now to the swing state of Nevada, where today Vice
This
President
happened
Harris is
just
returning
2
for her
hours
6th trip
ago.
this year and her second visit in
Here
less than
she
2 weeks.
is.
She'll be rallying support for the ticket and 2 campaign events this afternoon, especially among Latino voters who make up 18% of all registered votors in Nevada.
Do you
Joining
think
us now
she
from
has
Las
the
Vegas,
female
John
and
Ralston, CEO of the
Latino
Nevada
vote?
Independent and MSNBC political
No.
analyst,
No.
the guy who knows more about Nevada than anybody else. And so,
You don't?
John, the Vice
Nope.
President's going to be there today. The President will be in
That's
Nevada
what I'm
next
afraid of
week.
is
Tell me
her
about that
having
focus.
the female and the Latino vote.
No.
Well, you know how important we are. I like to say we matter, Jose, and obviously the Biden team knows that. The president is coming for a couple of speeches here next week. My guess is he will add some other events. But as you mentioned, the vice president has been here half a dozen times just this year. She has energized voters at places like the Culinary Union, which, as you know, has a very large Hispanic population. But today she's trying to energize the Asian vote,
That's
doing
who
an
she's
event
going to be
there.
focusing on.
And it's a very important constituency here as well, about 10%. Of the electorate, maybe a little less. And so they've been heavily Democratic in the past. So they're leaving no stone unturned in what I like to call the We Matter state, Jose.
Yeah, and I mean, and John, I mean, the president has seen solid support towards him in the past.
He has, and Joe Biden had won here, just as every Democratic presidential candidate has won here since 2008. Now, the margin was relatively close, about 2.5%, 33,000 votes, but the Hispanic vote was very, very strong for him and very, very important. That's why the Culinary Union support, and they have reiterated that they will do anything to elect Joe Biden, is very, very important. But they have seen in the polls here what they've seen across the country, which is some slippage in the Hispanic vote. And so in every constituency, Jose, across the board, whether it's Asians, Hispanics, young people, the Biden team is trying to shore up support to coalesce, especially with all the questions that have been raised in the wake of his debate performance.
Yeah, and John, I mean, talk to me about the slippage in the Latino vote. I'm a little bit, I think, less.
Over.
Well, today, Vice President Kamala Harris will head to Las Vegas to attend a campaign event focused on Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders.
Yes.
This comes as calls grow for President Biden to step down from the 2024 ticket following last month's debate performance. But would people vote for Harris if she were the presidential pick? Here's what some voters in Las Vegas had to say.
I think that she needs to be replaced as well. I don't think she should run again either.
And I think she's ready for whatever comes up. She had plenty of time to prepare herself for that position at the top or in the second seat.
They keep lying to our people.
I absolutely think she can lead the country.
I don't really know a whole lot about her. She's been pretty kind of in the shadows, so to speak, since Biden took office.
All right, so CBS News campaign reporter Nydia Cavazos is in Las Vegas for the vice president's event. So first off, I'll ask you about what the vice president is doing in Las Vegas.
Begging.
And Marie, good morning. As we see a lot of attention on Kamala Harris's.
So she is, okay, the name of it was Latinos, Asian Americans, and what?
Native Americans.
Oh my God.
That's what I said. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get on my
That's
soapbox,
why
please.
they want, okay, this is what I think's going to happen. If that's her plan, she's going to take over the last 6 months and reopen the borders.
Very possible.
And get that Latino female. That's what's going to happen.
Well, like I said, once again, I got to jump up on my soapbox. We are.
I want you to.
There are over 5 million Native Americans in this country. 90% of us are Democrats. I am not, obviously. Just like Biden and Obama, they really hit the Apache tribe, the Navajo tribe, and the Sioux tribes. Those are your largest tribes in the country. And they really hit them hard for votes. Obama was smart enough to realize the Native American vote was just hanging out there and nobody was doing nothing with it. And he hit it. He did. He got it. He got it. But he lied.
Right.
Native Gypsy, our Native American population has the highest amount of unemployment, domestic violence, drug and alcohol abuse, high school dropouts than any other race in this country. 95% of them
So sad.
are Democrats. 80% of them live in poverty. The Democratic people have promised us the world since the Trail of Tears, and they've not delivered. For the first time in the history of elections, the black man has finally stood up and said, the Democrats are using us. They finally realize. And they've turned against the Democratic Party. My question is, my people, when are you going to stand up?
Right.
You know, y'all will start
Right.
seeing less and less of me as we
Okay,
get.
being Native American, how do you feel about the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline going through their backyard? It was a necessary thing, you know, for
No,
us to be oil independent and not so dependent on Saudi.
they could have made that pipeline run farther away from the tribe, and the tribe's drinking water, Gypsy.
Yeah.
That was, you
Yeah.
know, when you look at Superman, who was a famous Native American rapper who has spoke out and wrote songs, you know, and stood there. So you got to remember Wounded Knee, Trail of Tears, all that stuff
So can't they
is
fix that now?
probably not.
Reroute it around the land?
Yeah, well, they could, but it's going to cost billions of dollars. And who gives a shit about the Native American people? Let me tell you something. It's just on my soapbox. People think that the Jewish people in the Holocaust was the largest mass murder ever. Negative. More Native Americans were killed than Jews were during World War II. You guys slaughtered more of us than Hitler did the Jews. Now think about that. And we're only looking at 100 years back. Nobody gives a shit about us. We're irrelevant. But see, that's our own fault because the tribes that have the money, the Navajo, the Sioux, the Apache, they're greedy. Please tell me why the Navajo Council needs 2 jets. They don't. That money should be feeding their children. That money should be in their reservations. That money should be for schools. Instead of some fat Navajo Indian with a council and a war bonnet riding around in a jet that his people paid for. Girl, you don't want to get me started. That's why I say y'all can start seeing less and less of me because I got to go back to Twitter. It's time to get on my soapbox over there again. Seriously.
I hear ya.
You know, I was on it hard when Trump ran the first time, and I'll be on it hard again. Trump needs to wake up and realize the untouched voters in this country, which are the Native Americans. You worried about the black and the Latino? Blacks only make up 1/3 of the population of the United States. You realize that? Nor do the Latinos.
I have started to realize that actually. When I look at, you know, I like to put on for my city, if you will, and I look at our statistics all the time, and the ratios are surprising.
Yes. But the Native American makes up 1/3 of the population. And actually, if you go into Native American blood, we're 3/4 of the American population. You know, everybody loves running around claiming our blood. Oh yeah, well, I got Native American in me. Yeah, I got Cherokee in me. First of
I
all,
know, everybody says that in North Carolina, don't they?
the Cherokee
so
people
funny.
from the Trail of Tears all the way to Ohio, Oklahoma. Look, they ain't populated a lot of y'all, okay? But that don't make you Indian. It just doesn't.
See, I'm gonna play this real quick.
And you know, the Cherokee Nation is the only tribe that will accept you being Cherokee if you're 1/4, if you have 1/4 Cherokee blood. No, 1/10 Cherokee blood. Okay.
I'm gonna play this real quick. Hold on.
Many Democrats now in panic mode over President Biden's chances come
This is
November.
new. This is just
Today, the
in.
first sitting Democratic member of Congress called on Biden to step aside as others are calling the race for Donald Trump, including a Democrat who represents a rural district, one who flipped it from a Republican seat to a...
Okay, now that's something that I want to talk about too. I'm seeing Democrats want Trump back in. I guess their pocketbooks are hurting. They're tired of this. And I think that because of that, we've got the media back on our side, and they're asking the tough, hard questions now of Biden. And when you go back and you look at the debate in 2020 and how he was trying to campaign from his basement, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And you can only ask so many things, and he was only available so many hours a day. They can't do that this year. So he was just like this 3 years ago. They were just hiding it, and I think the media is tired of that role, and they're biting back.
Gypsy, you know, I was watching one of these things that you're talking about and showing, and I was shocked at the amount of people who did not realize that Joe Biden was senile
I know it.
until the debate. Hello? The man gets lost on stage.
I know it. Right. If you've ever had a family member, it looks exactly like what I've seen, in family members. Let's see, there was one just a few hours ago. News about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. News about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris.
You know, the Democrats have got to be taking
Kamala Harris has arrived in New Orleans tonight ahead of her 4th appearance at Essence Fest. She and the CEO of the festival will hold a forum tomorrow evening. It's part of a push by the Biden-Harris campaign to reach black voters. The head of Louisiana's Democratic Party says the visit is especially important after new laws were passed by the state legislature this year reflecting Republican priorities.
I do think that
Okay, so that's her campaign. She's going for that minority vote. Let's see. News about Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Let's see what this says.
The opponent Donald Trump wants to face versus the opponents that he thinks he'll face. Moments ago on Fox, Trump was asked directly about whether or not Joe Biden should quit the race.
Do you, Mr. President, do you want Joe Biden to step aside? Do you care?
Well, we prepared for him, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Notice he didn't say yes, but when he was prodded a little further by Sean Hannity about who he thinks will actually be on the ballot opposite him in November, this was his answer.
I think that it will be her. I think they are very concerned about the vote if it's not her. They are very, very, they're gun shy. They don't want to do it any other way. I've actually come to believe that's what they're going to do.
Let's discuss this. We've got contributing editor for the National Review, Rehan Salam, former.
So they're going to give it to Kamala. Is that what you got from what she just said?
Yes.
Let's see what this one.
That's the game plan.
If you've been waiting to apply for disability benefits, don't. Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm a lawyer at Atticus.
The former president, Donald Trump, was on with Sean last night, and Sean asked a bunch of great questions, but here is something particularly germane to what we're talking about, and that is, does former President Trump care if Joe Biden is not the guy who's the nominee? Watch.
It looks to me like he may very well stay in. He's got an ego, and he doesn't want to quit. He doesn't want to do that. It just looks to me like that's what he wants. I think Jill would like to see him stay. She's having a good time. We prepared for him, but I don't think it's going to matter. We had a great 4 years. Our border was the strongest ever. Our economy pre-COVID was incredible, the best ever. Took out the worst terrorists in the world and defeated ISIS. That was a big thing. I was told it would take 5 years, and it took us a couple of months. We're heading into World War III, in my opinion, with this man semi-running things, because he's not running things.
What do you make of all the talk that if Biden steps aside or is pushed out, that it would be Vice President Harris?
I think that it will be her. I think they are very concerned about the vote if it's not her. They are very, very, they're gun shy. They don't want to do it any other way. I've actually come to believe that's what they're going to do. I think she's an ineffective person.
So, Ainsley, while you were on vacation, I think Steve and I decided we were going to do a bet.
I heard about this, yeah.
the opponent Donald Trump wants to face versus the opponents that he thinks he'll face. Moments ago on Fox.
You know, leaving no stone unturned. This is still live. Are they going to impeach him?
Question. Look, I wouldn't say there's anything specific. This is something that he wanted to do, and if you think about it, you know, he's been on the road a lot since the debate. He was on the road on Friday.
Welcome to the show, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dave.
My name's Regis.
Okay.
Now, Mr. President, you're here to raise money for Alzheimer's awareness. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
I'm here to raise money to help find a cure for Alzheimer's because I have what's called a vested interest, Dave.
Regis.
Okay.
All right then, Mr. President. Let's play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Question 1 for $100. Usually an easy one, don't worry. The USA is an acronym of the following phrase: the United States of A, Israel, B, Armenia, C, Iran, D, America.
Ooh, tough one. Looks like I have to phone a friend.
Fucking idiot.
Able to touch him and ask him questions and see him face to face. I think that matters. And so, look, we're going to continue to move forward and do what we have to do. All right, I think I can take one more. Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you so much. So we've seen the president like being on.
She
the
looks like a
ground,
Chiquita banana.
But we've also heard a slightly new tone from him. He said he was frustrated with the elites of his party. He dismissed polls. He criticized media coverage, saying that journalists get election results wrong. So is this the kind of tone we should expect to hear from him going forward? And does he believe this is the kind of tone that the average voters, as he says, expect from him?
Look, I would say this. I think what we've seen the last 10 to 12 days is certainly fundamental to the Joe Biden story. He is someone that is certainly counted out many, many times in his career. People
What the fuck is this
tend to knock him down, and you hear him say he gets back up. This is the
not
story. This is the story of him standing up for himself,
she's
standing
a
up for millions
cheerleader.
of Americans, and certainly millions of Americans who back his leadership and, like him, care. They care about working people. They care about getting things done.
Bullshit.
And
We know that's a
It
lie.
really, truly is.
Does this
who he is in
idiot
his
have
heart to
any
fight,
concept
to
of what our
fight, not
economy
just
looks
for
like
himself,
right
but
now?
what he believes in.
I know, right?
And he has seen this over and over again. People count him out. People say
He
he's
is
not gonna win.
bankrupting the American
People
people.
say, you know, all of the the negative things that they want to put at his feet, and he proves them wrong.
You know, it wouldn't surprise
over
me
and
if
over
Biden
again.
doesn't
Think about
die
2020. Folks
soon.
said the same thing. He's not going to win.
That's
He's
what
not gonna
everyone
make it.
said in chat
And
today.
he won. In 2022, we
Yeah.
had a midterm election.
If he
They were
don't
calling
step
it
down,
rigor mortis syndrome.
yeah,
When every
but I
now
think
and then when he freezes up, rigor mortis, that's when you're
Continue to
dead.
fight. That is his commitment. That is quintessential Joe Biden story.
the
That is
Democratic Party is
fundamentally
known for killing their own people when they can't get them out of the way.
All right, thanks everybody.
If he don't step down, he may have a sudden heart attack.
Well, on that note, I'm gonna head on and go eat some lunch. How are you doing, by the way? Are you doing better?
I'm trying, baby. I'm trying. They got me on some new medicine, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm glad to see you out and about, and I'm thankful that you came up and hung out with me today.
I'm trying to, hell, I just woke up.
That's Myrtle Beach back there on July 4th weekend.
Crazy, isn't it? I used to live in Myrtle Beach.
So many people.
I know, I hated it. God knows I am. When I lived in Virginia Beach during bike week, God, no.
I've never been there, and I want to go there. I want to visit.
Never been to Virginia Beach?
No, and I'd like to. I've seen Dolly, go live from there. I'd like to see it.
Well, girl, I lived there. That's where I married my first husband. I'll take
Yeah,
you.
you told me.
I'll take
Is
you.
it expensive?
It can be. It depends on which
Okay.
hotel you want to stay in.
So it's like Myrtle as far as money
Yeah,
goes?
you can, in September, the hotel rates drop dramatically. We'll go in September when the rates go down if you want to. Everything
That
drops
sounds
after Labor Day.
awesome.
And it's still warm. The water's still warm. I mean, yeah. Matter of fact, my son don't, well, I ain't gonna say where my son lives, but he lives in Virginia and he's not too far from there, so.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to head on and go grab something to eat. My stomach's growling. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you. Love
Thanks
y'all.
for the
Thank y'all
invite.
for coming. Okay, bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bada bing, bada boom. Get over here. Get out of here.
Go, Monty, go, 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 go!
He's got green grass in front of him. He's at the 5. Touchdown! Woo!